Getting everything set up. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the jewels. Appreciate you. It's time. We are live once again. What's good? Still playing D2? Hey, we stay playing Destiny 2, all right? Until they shut the fucking lights off, my dude. Until they shut the lights off. What's good? What's good? We'll be playing some other stuff as well. I was playing a bunch of Power World. Let's get started here today. Tony Hayabusa. We got Q, Little GTXC. Thanks again for the jewels. Appreciate that. Thanks again. Tony, Bearhoot, and then we got Cress with the 2 months membership. Thank you very much. Let's go. Let's go. I got to write that down. We got the membership. Good. We got some fun stuff to do today. We're going to be deleting stuff in Destiny 2. What's going down? Ready for this? You're not ready for this. You'll see in a minute. What's up? What's up? What's up? Darn tootin'. Exactly. Darn tootin'. Darn tootin', right. What if there was a blackout one here? Nope. All right. All right. It's time. Let's do this. D2 till the lights go out. That's what I'm saying. You think Sony is still keeping Marathon alive for a certain amount of time? Yeah, I think they have a contingency plan because people were paid customers. And they also looked at Bungie's track record, and they actually do have a history of having rough launches, but then they later recover pretty well. So we'll see. I think that's kind of what they were hoping or thinking could happen with Marathon, but unfortunately, I don't see Marathon pulling off the Forsaken moment. We'll see, though. We're going to talk about this. Mute these alerts. Good. Thank you. Thank you very much, little GTXC. Appreciate that. You're too kind. McKinney Sands here. What's good, Centipede? All right, lock in. Big story. Sony has just addressed the elephant in the room. With a recent announcement from them stating that, well, Marathon's probably not profitable, at least if you read between the lines here. This is what the image shows from their recent presentation when it comes to their live service business that they're running. So you have here under Game and Network Services, Studio Business. In the Studio Business, live service titles, such as the latest installment of MLB The Show, which this thing is like infinite money printer. MLB The Show, I don't know who's playing this. Are you playing this baseball game? This thing is the king of consistency. Apparently, this is the real Destiny killer and Marathon killer, is MLB The Show. We're going to start playing some baseball on stream here in a minute. God damn it. I just want to play. Can I play as Barry Bonds? Like juiced up Barry Bonds? And we got Helldivers 2 here, which, you know, it's going through a turbulent time, but this thing was an absolute cash cow for a while. Seems like it's still doing well, though, because they say now in its 3rd year since release, they continue to contribute steadily to revenue. But notice that in the topic of live service and contributing to revenue, Marathon is not mentioned. You have any guess as to why that is? Well, it ain't making any money. That's for damn sure. All right? This thing is cooked, my dude. Like, it is. They had to take Marathon and put it in its own bullet point when talking about live service, because they had to say, like, Marathon, it's like when you're trying to say something nice about your friend, but there's just nothing good about him, you know? Like your friend, they're a warlock main, they're really annoying at times. It's like there's just nothing you can say nice about them. And so you're just like, you're like say one nice thing about Drew's, right? I'm like, he has hair. I don't know. Like, what am I supposed to say? Like, I struggle, right? And this is Sony's struggle to say anything nice about Marathon at all. They said, with the release of Season 2 in June, Marathon has maintained a high user retention rate. Excuse me? The Steam charts beg to differ. Hiroki Totoki. While also acquiring new user, which I think the S is a typo because I don't think they actually gained more than one, but maybe it's a typo. Maybe it was maybe two. I'm not sure, but definitely didn't go up by much. Clearly, you can look at the charts. We've been looking at the charts. We know what it's looking like. All right. You know what? Fine. We'll do it. We'll do the bit. If chat says dance monkey dance, then I will pull up these Steam charts. You think I won't? Steam, it's already on the #1 most popular games, of course. 3,000 people right now. God damn. Just take it out back behind the barn and put it down already, Bungie. Dear God. This thing is bleeding players so fast. Oh, good Lord. The next part reads, as for titles on sale this fiscal year, Sorrows, released in April, received high acclaim with a Metacritic score of 88 and is steadily expanding its user base. Well, I haven't really kept too many tabs on this, but I know people were not especially happy about it. The story, the entire narrative was like bizarre. In addition, going forward, we expect Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls set for release in August, Marvel's Wolverine set for release in September, and God of War La Fey set for release in February of next year to continue to drive performance in this segment, the live service segment. This is what they're banking on right here. And truth be told, I mean, God of War, it's like, I don't know what's going to happen with that one. I'm not sure if the God of War fans are pulling up for that one necessarily. I've heard, a little bit of back and forth, but overall, we'll see. Wolverine looks to be pretty good overall, but really, I think the biggest highlight here is Marathon. Yeah, Marathon not being mentioned as a game that continues to contribute steadily in revenue, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. The post reads, Sony admits Marathon isn't profitable, which, to be fair, they didn't downright say it. Like, they're not going to say this in their earnings calls, right? Like, they're not going to be like, yeah, this game sucks ass. What the fuck are we doing? But, they have to make their investors feel confident in the game in some way. So they have to bolster something, right? Like, they have to say something. And I guess the only thing they could say is that, it started to gain some more players in Season 2, which has been not very good. Like, if we actually look at the launch of Season 2, it went up to, what was it? Yeah, it went up to 40,000, which not the worst bump up from 10,000, If it was like 15,000, it would be absolutely abysmal, right? But it really struggles to retain the players, obviously. Paul Tassi posted this as well, and he skipped over the other part. So he just said, that they're retaining higher user retention. So we had this guy says this is simply not true. The game is bleeding players every single day, and Steam charts show that. There's no reason to believe that console is behaving completely differently to Steam. I don't understand how Sony continues to bet on this niche game. Definitely high retention rate. Yeah, everyone is like, yeah, we're not buying it, bud. It's fascinating living in a world where you have that transparency, where you have the information, so you can kind of gauge what the BS is pretty easily. You can see through it. So no one's buying this. And I do think that this is very likely an indicator that, Sony's not happy with Marathon's current contributions to revenue. All right. This says right here, Sony says Marathon is retaining players and gaining new users. Now, before you chuds say they are lying, you need to think about some things. Sony has access to all of the data. We only have the concurrent Steam charts. Not everyone plays at the exact same time. I am seeing new players pop up on the main forums and on X. Console may be growing. A recent post on the main forum asked what platform they play Marathon on. Majority was PS5. We got a co-parter here. So yeah, Marathon is keeping its players and acquiring new users. Some players might not be playing as much, but not everyone plays at the same time. This is why concurrents are a worthless metric. So this guy came over. This guy clearly is a blaster. All right. He's over there, played Marathon. He decided to cross enemy lines and enter, uncharted territory, which is r/Marathon hate. He has received a whopping 0 upvotes to 60 comments. So this is an impeccable ratio. He says, LOL, the concurrents absolutely disprove all of this. Says, the chuds aren't looking at the millions of Marathon players playing the 1994 version, though. Oh, no. Not the 1994 version. Oh, man. That's brutal. Crazy time. Which the timing couldn't be any worse for them. We just covered this in a previous video, which is that Marathon DB, one of the biggest third-party sites, has now entered maintenance mode. The end of service has come for Marathon DB specifically. Not Marathon the game, that's next, but Marathon DB, which, if you remember what happened in the history for Destiny and its death, there was like a year of bleeding out, and in that year we lost a bunch of third-party sites. RIP to the homies, pour one out for the third-party sites. They were all going down. And then eventually they went belly up, and then the game went belly up, right? So Marathon DB actually cited that they've gone into maintenance mode, and it was due to Marathon's player base just too small to justify further work. Just the player base is too small, so they're ending one of the biggest third-party sites. This was just 3 days ago. But no, don't worry, guys. Sony says that it's maintained a high user retention rate. Yeah, if Sony says that, then that must be true for sure. I mean, why would they lie? Why would Sony lie? They have never. They would never. Remember, Sony is lying, and the Steam charts are lying. Remember the Steam chart conspiracy theory? This is it. The Steam chart conspiracy theory from 27 days ago. The daily active users ranking is no longer accurate. And yet still you have the third-party sites shutting down. So if that doesn't tell you what's going on with the game, I don't know what will. And I think it's funny how people are trying to disguise it as something else. Sony is trying their best. Sony should just say some like blank thing like Marathon is one of the video games of all time. That would be a better statement. Sony, Marathon is a first-person shooter game that does exist for now. Like, I don't know what else they could say. The retention rate that they're talking about, by the way, the reason why they're able to get away with this is because what they're saying is that the average play session time of the average Marathon player is pretty high. Or perhaps there's like a core group of people, those few thousand people online or whatever. And these guys are locking in and playing many, many hours per each play session time. So because the game is a little bit grindy, like Destiny was as well. A lot of them are probably Destiny players that frankly just got bored of the game and have, a lot of free time. So they're just over there grinding some Marathon. And there's nothing wrong with that if they enjoy it. But to cite that as being like some successful metric feels very disingenuous. Someone said, I've played Marathon for a while now, and I never heard of this third-party site. You don't even need this third-party site for the game, LOL. Dude, you're the reason this site died. What the hell? You didn't even use Marathon DB? Unreal. Can you even call yourself a runner on Tau Ceti if you don't use Marathon DB? Crazy, dude. So on this site, they've got, all the different classes. You got Assassin. It gives you a breakdown of what they do, right? How their abilities work, right? And then you can put on the mods, the weapons, and you can kind of see where your stats line up. These third-party sites are awesome, especially for information for the game. For Destiny 2, these third-party sites were absolutely essential. Dim was, it's not the same type of game with looter shooter, but Dim was an absolute necessity for playing Destiny 2. But this is a very useful site, and sites like these going down because the player base is too low is really bad. It's a really bad look. And it kind of just shows that, things are dwindling, things are dying down for Marathon in the exact same way, kind of like history repeating itself. Right? We saw this happen with Destiny 2, and now we're seeing it happen with Marathon. Yes, we're talking about Escape from Roblox. Someone said, obviously they have high retention. The wait times are enormous. Oh, no. That's because the population's so low, so it takes 10 minutes to find a damn match. Would this count as illegally misleading to shareholders? Like I said, it's not illegally because they're referencing kind of a vague, retention rate, which technically, if you were to have them go into the specifics and cite what they're talking about, it probably wouldn't look as good, but you can say that. Like I said, you come up with something, anything you want, some bizarre, well, to give me 10 examples of saying something nice about Marathon the game, but make them all like nothing burger examples, like Marathon is one of the games of all time type of examples. Yes, this is Sony CEO Hiroki Totoki speaking to the shareholders. Marathon is definitely a video game. Marathon has some gameplay. There are people who enjoy Marathon. Marathon certainly exists. The developers made some choices with Marathon. Marathon is one of the extraction shooters ever made. If you play Marathon, you'll be playing Marathon. That's probably my favorite one. If you play Marathon, Marathon has graphics, sound, and mechanics. Marathon is a game that can be launched. These are the accolades, dude. Send out the new accolades video. Immediately. Ship it. New accolades video's got to go out. Did you see the previous accolades video? So this was the last accolades trailer right here. Yes, sir. I can't stop playing Marathon from Kotaku. Where are they at now? Oozing the Bungie magic. A visual feast. Masochistically fun. The only thing masochistic is continuing to spend money on this game. What did they say? The shooting mechanics are sublime. I'm going to be honest, I'm addicted. Shroud, who has not played the game since the first week. Incredible. Incredible addiction, Shroud. Thank you for this. This is, honestly, someone print this out, put this on my fridge. I'm so addicted to this game that I never play. The Burnt Peanut, fuck you, I had a good time. Also, hasn't played since the first week. After the sponsored streams ran out, they're nowhere to be found. Incredible. Hashtag ad. Hashtag sponsored. Hashtag Bungie paid me to say this. Love to see it. What a time to be alive, dude. What a time to be alive. Let me know what you think about the situation down in the comment section below. Do you think that Marathon is failing to contribute steadily to revenue, unlike Helldivers 2 and MLB The Show? Or do you think that we're perhaps reading between the lines a little too much? Feel free to give your thoughts and ideas, of course, but I found this to be pretty interesting, and this was trending on r/marathon hate. Heavily salted peanut. It hasn't made any money. It hasn't made any money. Deadlock isn't even out yet, and the game has leaderboards, practice range, and replay systems. Yeah. I will say that is a pretty good point, that Marathon, they're a little bit bare bones, but what I will say, to their credit, is that what Bungie was trying to do is they want all of the effort to go into the experience and the replayability. And so they really stacked their cards into Cryo Archive. And I think that Cryo Archive is, I think, a really cool thing if you like Marathon. But if you don't, it's very, like, it's too much. It's way too much. Uninteresting. But if you, for whatever reason, like Marathon, like if you enjoy the gunplay, the aesthetic, art style, whatever it may be, right? Whatever pulls you into Marathon, maybe you like extraction shooters. I think the Cryo Archive is a very interesting and very unique creation. So I'll give Bungie credit on that. They made something unique. They made something that was, I don't know, interesting, I guess. But unfortunately, they put all their cards and all their money and stacked everything into Cryo Archive, and the larger gaming audience just doesn't really seem to be too interested in it, you know? And it's rather depressing, I imagine, for the Marathon enthusiasts, because they're like, hey, I think this is awesome. I want to play more of this, but ain't gonna happen, right? Unfortunately. The Concord remake is Marathon. They should have treated the whole game like Cryo. I'm trying to think of what the real issue is with Cryo that kind of pushes people away. It's almost like it's too much in one map. You know, like you look at the raids in Destiny and you look at like Salvation's Edge, right? I think Salvation's Edge, the one with the Witness, I think it's like a masterpiece with Verity and the mechanics for the final boss. It's just incredible. And I really like it, but not everyone even does that. Like, people will be like, yeah, I love Destiny. I play Destiny all the time. I played 4,000 hours of Destiny. And they're like, yeah, did you clear Salvation's Edge? It's like, nope, never even tried. Couldn't get a team together, you know? It's like, what? You know? There's something about the complexity of the mechanics and that end game that's like not as appealing to the larger audience, unfortunately. So Bungie kind of went doubled down and tripled down and tried to put like a raid in an extraction shooter for some crazy reason, and it just didn't take off, right? It just didn't take off. But there's a semblance of something interesting there. The execution is not the best, though. Cryo is fun the first time, the sixth time it's meh. I could imagine clearing it multiple times is kind of like whatever. I think if anything, it drives people away. I think it probably does drive people away to some degree. I think that when you look at the Marathon population in general, it was already going to be kind of a niche within a niche. You know, I kind of wish that Marathon was a game that was made by, you know, some studio with like 45 devs or something, because then it would actually have longevity, right? That's the saddest part about Marathon in some ways, is that if some 45 dev studio made it, they would have longevity. But unfortunately, it's made by Bungie, so it will be, you know what I'm saying? It will be end of service very soon here. Destiny has more to offer overall. Oh, for sure. Destiny has crazy amounts to offer. You know, Destiny is such a cool game like that. The part that's wild about Destiny, though, is like we can all sit here and say Destiny is so good, so great, but it's like it's still not the most popular shooter game. It's the most popular looter shooter, so it's number one in its category. It was, right? But it definitely lost its lost to other shooter games. If Pocket Pair made Marathon, they would have done a better job on Bungie. Maybe. I mean, we'll see what their next project is. They seem to have a pretty good vision for games. They seem to be making games that people really want. What up, what up? What's good, Mr. Cron Jones? Welcome on in. All right, so that's the big news. We got that covered. Let's get on to the next news story. Bungie needs to change course entirely. There is a big opportunity. Oh, really? You have me interested. What is this opportunity? Let's see what Houndish is cooking today.
As has been discussed on every corner of the internet as it relates to video games at least, Bungie are in an incredibly difficult position right now. In recent years, they've seen numerous rounds of layoffs. We know ultimately that Bungie wanted to be a multi-IP studio, and they just about managed to do that when they released Marathon earlier in 2026. As we all know though, following that, they announced that they were ending development on Destiny 2, and the decision to actually do that, best we know, happened very close to the Marathon launch. And so ultimately, the layoffs and everything that have followed going into summer of 2026 were probably planned and known about at around that time as well. One of the things that Bungie couldn't really factor in when that happened would be long-term performance for Marathon. And I'm sure there were concerns even before the game dropped, given the very negative sentiment around Bungie in general, but also the issues that specifically affected Marathon, like the art scandal. And, well, let's face it, the studio really pissed off a lot of their core audience while going into the launch for this new game. And those are just a couple of components of why Marathon has had a very hard time. As things stand right now, when we compare player numbers for Destiny 2 and Marathon, the Extraction shooter actually managed to bump up its peak player count by a fairly significant number earlier this week because Bungie dropped a PvE version of the Cryo Archive map, and a lot of people were curious to come and check that out. Admittedly, this is only an experimental mode, as Bungie call it, but ultimately it feeds into the existing ecosystem of Marathon, which means you can't really be a purely PvE player in the game if you actually want to progress in a meaningful way, because all of the rewards you earn will only especially benefit you in PvP. And I'm sure that's part of the reason that, despite getting that big boost this week, players have once again dropped away pretty quickly. And when we compare that number to Destiny 2, obviously, D2 on Steam is doing much better. And when I say this, I am in no way a Marathon hater, because personally, I'm a huge fan of PvP. I think Marathon has great gunplay, and quite engaging systems actually, for a very small audience, and that's the problem. Obviously, if you think the game is bad, then you're entitled to that opinion, but even if you acknowledge the things that the game does very well, it only appeals to a really small audience, which most of
So Destiny 2 was the sacrificial lamb. What are you even talking about? What the... Oh, no. Feels like Ragebait closing D2 and all in on Marathon, don't it? Not Ragebait. Just looking at the news and seeing what people are talking about. What is Marathon's current position? And what is the future of Bungie? I didn't make this video. This is Houndish video. We're just talking about it.
Us could have predicted before it even dropped, right? And in the last couple of weeks, we've heard about the Marathon game director Joe Ziegler leaving the studio. Some of the Marathon teams were also laid off back in June of this year. And so seemingly, even on the Marathon teams, there is a lot of restructuring, and Bungie are essentially attempting to pivot away from this, quote, niche extraction shooter thing. So one thing that does tell us is that they are putting quite a lot of resources into the game still at the minute. And this is speculative, but...
Here's what we do. We make a portal inside Marathon, right? You walk into the portal, and then on the other side is the Destiny universe, okay? And roll credits, new cutscene, new title screen, Destiny 3 launches. This is how we save it all. I don't know what you do, man. I truly don't know what you do. I think that this situation is such a disaster. It's such a dumpster fire that everyone commenting right now, I'm watching and reading your comments, and there's just such a diverse group of opinions, and who knows what's next, right? Like we genuinely don't know. Tomorrow could be the Marathon end of service update, or Bungie could announce a 3-year plan or something crazy. Like, we have no clue what the hell is going on. It's an absolute shit show, though.
We can assume that Marathon is operating at a loss right now. So with everything we've just said in mind, you get a lot of news reporting like this. Marathon's player base is collapsing and Bungie's future looks increasingly bleak as concerns grow around the studio's live service direction. This of course highlights that Bungie have wrapped up Destiny 2. It also makes that player number comparison. 6,000 on Steam at the time of this article for Marathon, and 60,000 for Destiny 2 in the same period, which is around 10
The Bungie devs are going to keep Marathon alive long enough so that Marathon gets to see one day where it has a higher population than Destiny 2. It's like, we will keep this thing going. We will bring it back. Destiny 2's population is obviously going to dwindle down with no more updates, but we'll see how long Marathon goes for. Season 3 is in September. Making it to September is going to be a crazy experience. Think about what the population is going to be like, what the discourse is going to be like in September for this game.
times more players, and that pretty much tracks with the numbers that we see a couple of weeks later as I'm making this video. Now this is the part that may be cope if and when Marathon doesn't pan out. I think that Bungie actually have a really interesting opportunity here, given the vibes in the Destiny community at the moment, to ultimately bring Destiny back. And again, I get that lots of people will call this cope, but one thing Bungie have on their side at this precise moment is that they still have a development team. The majority of people who've been producing Marathon previously produced Destiny, so they are familiar with the title.
No, not the Marathon team making Destiny 3. Oh, hell no. That would be the most cursed timeline of all. No, absolutely not. They cannot touch Destiny. No. What are we saying?
And the systems. That's worth highlighting because many people will point out that the D2 team specifically was laid off, which is of course really sad. But I would argue that Bungie and Sony kind of have a choice here to either continue putting money into Marathon, which I personally do not believe is going to pan out. I think sentiment around the game is so poor, and Bungie have used up a lot of revived tokens, if you like, right, with these attempts to bring players back to Marathon. They've dropped PvE modes, they've dropped events that make earning rewards more easy for different types of players, and while Marathon saw a big player bump for the start of Season 2, those people once again fell away from the game very, very quickly. And there's only so many times that you can try and sell, hey, we've made this thing better, before ultimately people just stop paying attention, right? And again,
if you let this Marathon team make Destiny 3, the game would launch with no campaign, just like Marathon did. It would launch, there would be Gambit would be there. There'd be like Gambit Prime. There'd be like 3 other variants of Gambit for some reason. The NPCs of the tower would all be fucking Nimbus. Like, you cannot let these guys cook again. Absolutely not. No. No. I refuse.
I don't say this in a remotely hateful way because I really like lots of things that Marathon does in terms of gameplay. And the ideal world for me is that it would indeed live alongside a fully fledged and larger Destiny project. But clearly, as it stands for Bungie, that isn't going to happen. And so the two options that Bungie would realistically have to produce Destiny content again in the future would be, firstly, a D1 remaster, which has been brought up many times. There are a bunch of pros to doing this. Firstly, you don't have to build an entirely new game. You don't need
Here's what I actually think you do. And we've talked about it, but I have a new plan, okay? We're doing this live. You hire a new team, okay? A whole new team of people, all right? Get some people that have a vision to mostly align with what Destiny 1 was, more so than Destiny 2, especially in the last few years. Align with that. Let them remake Destiny 1, okay? If and when they are successful, assuming they are, because they could absolutely butcher it, right? We just saw fucking Halo Campaign Evolved come back, and apparently everyone's pissed about that. Apparently that did not land well, guys. Did you play that? All I've seen is everyone being pissed off about it, so the reviews aren't very good. People are not happy. The fans are revolting. So it's not that Destiny 1 Remastered is a guaranteed slam dunk, right? It's not a guaranteed slam dunk. But if you picked the right team, a group of people that are, have the right vision, if they delivered a successful D1 remaster, then give them the green light for a Destiny 3. I think that's the best course of action. A D1 remastered is a less risky investment, right? It doesn't cost as much money. You also have, you have the IP defined. It's already there. It's just laid out right in front of you. Remake this. Basically bring it up to PC standards, and if you want to add more to it. I don't know. I'm not sure what you do when you go past Destiny. Like, do you add stasis in at all? Maybe, maybe not later on. I'm not sure, but at the very least, just a basic one-to-one remastered of Destiny 1 would enthuse a decent amount of people, I think. It's been long enough. And then you can give them a crack at Destiny 3. Hopefully it's profitable and successful. Could you imagine? That would be the dream world, is that a whole new team, you can call them Destiny Studios, which obviously didn't work out very well for Halo and 343, but let's pretend in this world we pick the right people, okay? And they deliver a really good, really successful Destiny 1 remastered. And then it's so profitable that the profits and the success and the critical acclaim from that deliver a Destiny 3. That would be awesome, dude. That'd be awesome. Someone said blue hair and nose rings out. Oh, good lord.
1,000+ developers and potentially the best part of $1 billion to produce it, because lots of the assets already exist, right? And there are some pieces of content that don't exist in Destiny 2, like Wrath of the Machine, the Playguns, some of the patrol spaces, and indeed the original campaign for Destiny 1. However, the cons for remastering Destiny 1, as it stands right now, include that much of its content is in Destiny 2, and some of those components have been reprised numerous times, right? So there are bits of that concept that do make sense and others which kind of don't, right? The other option, and it's one that Bungie seriously considered, is Destiny and
that guy, I just noticed that Fallen guy is just pointing a Queen Breaker at a ship, dude. What does he think is going to happen? You take that ship down with one Queen Breaker shot? I don't know about that one.
Infinity, which would basically be a reboot of Destiny 2. And I guess the concept here was really to zero in on the best parts of that game, revamp a bunch of systems, and then produce a new live service plan for it, right? And the goal here was ultimately for it to be something more sustainable than what the content pipeline was for the bulk of Destiny 2's life, especially with the annual expansion and seasonal model running simultaneously, where Bungie basically had to have 1,000+ developers working on the project. And as I've said before, some of this is based on the fact that I don't believe Destiny wasn't profitable or couldn't be profitable, but it's very clear that Bungie's leadership misused a lot of the funds they had and made bad judgment calls, right, as it relates to expanding the studio.
We talked about this, Destiny being profitable or struggling with its profits, and I actually think a lot of this comes down to the location. We've talked about this more and more, where the West Coast of America is charging like ultra premium prices for these dev salaries. And to be fair, that's where a lot of the best games came from originally, right? A lot of the best games came from the West Coast of America. So naturally, it created a sort of epicenter, and there's these massive Microsoft warehouses, and people live in the area because they know they can, if there's a layoff in one area, they could work at a different area, right? Like there's so much, the whole area is kind of surrounded by people that are there for this sort of tech business and to be hired by Microsoft, Bungie, you name it, right? There's countless studios and places to work there, and they're all really expensive to hire the devs, and the cost of living is through the roof. It's insane. The problem is that the gamers don't really care where the devs are. Like, I don't care if you make the game in San Francisco or Seattle or the White House or Taj Mahal or Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, right? So if we can get devs that can make games for cheaper, right? Like not in Seattle, if we can get them in Oklahoma or fucking Flint, Michigan or something, that's the game plan, right? Get them where the game can be cheaper then, right? Like the San Francisco devs cost twice as much as devs in other locations, sometimes in some situations, more than double the budget, which means that the game's success, whatever game they make, it has to be more than twice as successful. And that's a problem for the consumer, because the consumers want the products to go on and to have live updates, but they're kind of cooking themselves by making the budget so high because they have to pay for these super expensive salaries. So what's happening is that the bubble is burst for the AAA. Those games are just fucking crashing and burning. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. And we're seeing these more indie studios and some AA studios really thrive because they have lower budgets, lower overhead costs, and they're just more nimble. They can move and adjust and be faster than someone like Bungie that has all this crazy infrastructure and 1,000+ employees and stuff. So unfortunately, that's where things are trending and heading towards. I don't know that we would actually get something like that, but that would probably be the dream, is to move away from the West Coast, a studio that is not on the West Coast. A lot of these West Coast games they're basically doomed by their own fucking budget. You know, look at how expensive Marathon was, $250 million to make it, and Arc Raiders was 75 million. Think about that. Where was Arc Raiders made? Like what country? It was made in Sweden. Yes, Sweden. So they're not charging nearly as much over there.
Many incubation projects simultaneously, with kind of a lack of direction regarding how they would pull all of this off. That's a huge component of this cash burn issue that Bungie have had. It is, however, very clear, comparing the two titles, and with Monument of Triumph almost acting as a proof of concept for a major update for Destiny 2. I can't help but feel, as a non-business person, which I totally recognize, but regardless, I still can't help but feel that it would be less risky to spend what is left in the tank on an attempt to revive Destiny. And that's where I think as well, there is a marketing component of this where they could
I don't know. The part I like this just because I want Destiny as a selfish person that just wants more Destiny no matter what. Like, truly, just give me something Destiny related, please. Right? I get it from the gamer standpoint. The problem is that Bungie has really burned their reputation, right? And the situation where they let Destiny 2 die and squander into obscurity and then killed it and then took the funding before that and put it on Marathon. And then Marathon is this, Marathon is this project that by extension sort of led to the death of Destiny, right? Which is Bungie's decision. It's like, I think it might be better to just move on, I think that Bungie should make Marathon and they should die with Marathon or live with Marathon, right? They made their bed, they should sleep in it. If they can make Marathon a success, great. If they can't, great too. Whatever the outcome is, that's up to them, right? They got to figure that out. But let the IP that is Destiny be made by a different studio that doesn't charge $500 million for a Destiny 3. Like, do you understand how insane that sounds? It's $500 million for Destiny 3, but it was 75 million for Arc Raiders. And I get it, they're different games. It's a tough comparison in some ways, but when you look at the graphic fidelity of Arc Raiders and the systems and everything, you're like, this is a fucking good game. Like, this game was made for 75 million and Destiny 3 would have to be 500? Fuck. The Destiny 3 would have to be like Fortnite levels of success. And it's probably just unlikely, right? Like, look at Destiny 2's success and its dwindling, population over the last few years. And sure, you could blame it on Bungie, and you could say that in the perfect scenario where Destiny 3 was made exactly right, with the exact vision that invigorates everyone that ever played it and gets more new people than ever before, do you still think it lands at Fortnite levels? Probably not, guys. Like, let's be realistic. It's probably not going to land that way. So for that reason alone, the only solution is to move away from Bungie. Like, we got to move away from them. We got to say, listen, guys, you brought us here so far, but we got to go without you. It's the same thing we did with Halo. Like, they brought it so far and then they had to go without. Bungie chose to leave that time, and now we got to choose to leave without Bungie. That's the only way forward. And obviously it's not our decision to make, it's Sony's decision. But if I'm Sony, right, if I'm in that position where I have this expensive IP, Destiny, worth maybe $1 billion, right? I'm definitely choosing to give it the option of longevity to make profit, right? Like, I imagine that's probably what's happening right now is a repurposing of Bungie where maybe it'll be a hybrid studio. Maybe it'll be some Bungie devs and some of a new studio. Maybe they'll call it Bungie, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll call it Destiny Studios by Bungie, affiliated with Bungie or something. I don't know. We've never ventured down this path before, so we don't exactly know what the branding and the title is going to be. But I do think that moving forward in some way is the key here. And I don't think you can move forward with Bungie. I genuinely don't think it's possible. And I think that Sony knows that, and Sony's made it pretty obvious they're not very happy with them, right? We just talked about how they were, talking about Marathon and they had nothing nice to say. So I think we need to start living in the reality of Destiny 3 or a Destiny project made by someone else and what that looks like. Someone said, fuck it, Bungie moves to the Philippines. Let's take all of the Bungie devs and let's move them to the cheapest place in the world. You know what I'm saying? Let's send them to fucking India, dude. Send them to dude. What is the poorest city in India? Oh no. Patna, dude. Patna, send them to Patna, India. It's one of the India's poorest states. Send them there, dude. We'll get Destiny made for dirt cheap. Literally dirt cheap. You know what I'm saying? Dirt cheap Destiny 2. That's what I'm talking about. We'll get Destiny in India. We'll get Destiny 3 made for fucking $1.5 million at that rate, dude. We'll get it done.
Turn this nightmare into more of a strategy, right? Where they ultimately come out and say, we messed up, and we're instead going to invest our resources into a Destiny Infinity style project of some sort. Again, some will say, that's insane, it's never going to happen. And to an extent, I understand that, but Bungie's current position is generally insane. Because as it stands right now, Marathon isn't working out. That's why we're seeing this big pivot. Bungie are doing things that they said they were never going to do with Marathon. Joe Ziegler had stated that this was a PvP-focused game, and that PvE was really not a priority. And in fact, if you didn't like PvP, then the game probably just wouldn't be for you, which is fair enough in principle. However, given the kind of revenues that Bungie need to produce in order to stay afloat, that clearly is not working, and that's why we're seeing this big heavy pivot into some new direction. And I guess ultimately that's my point. I think Bungie's best chance of survival is some kind of return to a Destiny project. And I believe, given the sentiment that we've seen from Destiny players about the end of its life cycle, the amount of people that have been playing it again, the petition that 400,000 plus people have signed, to me indicates that Bungie literally have a better chance going back to Destiny than they do with Marathon, so why not do it? I can't answer that question because, again, I don't know what's going on in that business, apart from the fact that they're burning a lot of cash, and that continues as Bungie try to turn Marathon around. Yet looking at the equation, as we've established, they would almost certainly produce more money, have more players, and more general interest in Destiny content than they do with Marathon. And that's not about hating a game or a genre. It's a simple fact. That's what the numbers are telling us. That's what is playing out in front of us right now. So those are my thoughts on it. I believe ultimately Bungie could generate a bunch of hype by announcing that they're going to take a couple of years or whatever it would be to go and do this other thing. And that applies to Sony as well. As PC Gamer's brutal headline highlighted here, Sony Games Boss said company will bravely keep sending live services over the top, despite cancelling 8 of the 12 ones planned for 2025 and wiping out most of D2's developers. Despite its struggles, Destiny was one of the most successful live services they had in the portfolio. Make it make sense. Because ultimately, if they can't figure out a way to make something as popular as Destiny 2 workable, then in the current climate, I'm not sure that they can make any live services that are more viable than that, right? So those are my thoughts. Share yours down below. Some will disagree, and I know many of you won't because you want more Destiny stuff, but it is what it is. If I were Bungie and Sony, that's what I'd be thinking about over the next few months. I got nothing else to say about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll...
All right, there it is. That's Houndish's breakdown of the situation. I don't know why. I feel like I was the first person to sort of talk about this topic, and maybe it's because I'm a certified armchair developer and I don't know what I'm talking about. But I feel like this has to be like a, you know, and we joke about sending Bungie to India, right? Or you joke about it. But like the idea is just that there are studios that make games for much cheaper. We just saw those guys make Palworld. Do you see how profitable Palworld was? Dude. How profitable is the game Palworld? Give a breakdown of how much it cost to make it versus how much it made. The studio Pocket Pair made them, right? And its development budget was $6.7 million, so a fraction of Marathon. Like, that's the cost of making the fucking, I don't even know, one object in Marathon, apparently, with their $250 million budget of insanity. Their team size was 50 to 60 developers. The launch price was $30, and it generated $700 million in gross revenue. Damn. Think about that. $700 million in revenue. Now, if you take away all the costs and everything, then that means a profit of well over $600 million. $600 million in the bank account right now for those guys. That's crazy. That's the type of return that a studio like Sony, what they're looking for, right? A company like them, right? That's what they want. They want massive return. And you're just not going to get something like that with Bungie at this stage. That could literally fund a new Destiny. I know, literally Pocket Pair, if they cared, and they're just capitalistic enough, they might do it. You know what they would do? Pocket Pair, since they stole Pokemon, like kind of stole Pokemon, right? They would just like take Destiny's IP and just like make it look different. And it would look like Destiny. Instead of it being Titan Hunter and Warlock, it would be like fucking sound just like it. It would be like a wizard instead of a warlock. Instead of a hunter, what would they call it? Come up with some variant names from Titan Hunter and Warlock. Like instead of Warlock, have Wizard. Like make them very close in comparison. Use the same first letter, like H and T for the Hunter and Titan. Yeah. Instead of Titan, Hunter, and Warlock, we would have Tank, Huntsman, and Wizard. That's exactly what those guys would do. They would not pay for the license at all. They don't give a shit, dude. You think they're mad? They just pissed off Nintendo. All right, Nintendo's the most litigious gaming company ever. Those guys are all assholes. And they got sued by them and lost, you know? And they only had to pay like $30,000. It was pathetic, right? So you think they're scared of Sony's lawyers? Fuck no. They would probably have the balls to do this. And I guarantee you they could make a Destiny knockoff that would be pretty fucking good. And they would do it for a lot cheaper, that's for sure. The point is just that Destiny is being made by a company that grew into being one of the most expensive companies, right? And unfortunately, if Destiny was a more successful game, like if it was just like a top 10 game, like in terms of player population and numbers and metrics all time, then it wouldn't matter. Like it would just continue. But Destiny is kind of like it's like a niche mid niche game. Like it's popular. It's the most popular looter shooter, but looter shooters aren't the most popular shooters, right? So that's kind of the problem, is that you got the budget doesn't match, right? It's like having a champagne taste on a beer budget. You know what I'm saying? Destiny is beer, right? It's a good shooter game. You know, you can hop on with your buddies, run some strikes, play a dungeon, you know, fuck around, play some Crucible, fuck it. But it's not champagne, right? It's not the number one shooter game all time, you know. It's not the number one shooter game really ever, except for like once or twice a year it becomes the number one game. But I want to see the conversations change more towards what I've just said. I think that we are kind of like in this toxic relationship with Bungie where we are so desperate for Destiny, which I am. I'm there with you. But we're so desperate for more Destiny that we would be willing to let this toxic relationship go around again. We'd be willing to let it happen again, you know? And we got to call it quits on our toxic relationship with Bungie. And we got to find a new studio, right? We got to find a new home. That's going to be the game plan. And we got to give them a chance, you know, to make something special. Or we got to see what other people are going to cook up, you know. But the itch for Destiny and the looter shooter, it's definitely not being scratched just yet. Maybe the Division 3 will hold us over for a bit. You know, you can go play Warframe if it's fun for you for a bit. But for the most part, there's definitely just this massive void right now, man. And I want something like Destiny again. I don't know how long it's going to take for us to get it, but we will be waiting patiently. Tarkov got you? Tarkov is pretty good. Bungie is dead. That's the reality. That's true. I agree with this, unfortunately. As much as I wish that wasn't the case, I wish that we could say the opposite. New Destiny's Dead wine cooler. Yeah. Sag Day. All right. There's a new game coming out that looks good and has potential to be or not be the next Anthem. I don't know of any game that's actually going to satiate the Destiny fans. You need a first-person shooter game, looter shooter, okay? And then it needs to have PvP and PvE and endgame like raids. All 6 of those categories is fucking brutal, dude. God damn. That's hard. That's not even close to Tarkov. Tarkov is a first-person extraction shooter. We need a first-person looter shooter that has PvP, PvE, and an endgame, like a raid or a dungeon or something that requires some mechanics and puzzles. And then it's going to need lore, probably. You have to have lore. You got to have some story, you know? We got to have... Bife's got to have something to talk about. Fuck. What's he going to do? Obsidian is making Fallout? Yeah, Fallout New Vegas 2 or something, right? A Destiny mobile game with gacha? Yeah, that's exactly what they want. They want to own Destiny Rising. Bungie's like, can we buy back Destiny Rising from you guys? Can you imagine a buyback? That would be the fucking crazy headline. Bungie buys back Destiny Rising from NetEase. So the problem is that Destiny 2, Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 was the exact right mixture of ingredients for a very particular audience. And that audience is people that like shooter games like Call of Duty, you know, like Halo, right? But you also really like sci-fi, and you don't always want to sweat it out in the Crucible. That's basically what the game... That's why Destiny is so good, is because Destiny, in terms of what businesses do, Destiny solves a problem. And every good business, every good product solves a problem. And that problem was that you liked playing Call of Duty, you liked playing Halo, you saw the first-person shooting of Destiny, and you're like, this is kind of like those games. Except the difference is that there's more to the game. It's not just a PvP, you know, rage fest in the lobby, COD lobbies and shit. There's PvP, but there's also strikes and dungeons and lore and raids and stuff. And that's what... It solved a problem that was there for a lot of people that like first-person shooter games. Because there's a big audience of people that like shooter games. And this really did solve the problem in a big way. It would continue to solve the problem forever, too, by the way. Like, Destiny would forever be a very successful game in terms of population and overall numbers and metrics if Bungie wasn't just charging so much money to make it, and also just a little bit greedy, you know what I'm saying? Like, they kind of cashed out on that Sony deal a little too much. And, yeah, it's kind of cooked us, right? Destiny had great variety, absolutely. Destiny 2 is dead. And now we are all refugees looking for a new home. Where will we land? Where will we go next? What is the next game that follows Destiny? Warframe? Borderlands? It's not Anthem. We know that for sure. RIP Anthem. Pouring out for the homie. Destiny players are looking for a home. This video is trending in the category. Let's see what we're cooking up here.
G'day guys, Rugrat here. For a lot of us, Destiny wasn't just another game. It was the game we came back to. The tower, the raids, the strikes, the god rolls, the seasonal grind, the mates jumping on at reset, the pain, the hope, the disappointment, the comeback, and then more disappointment, then somehow another comeback.
I agree with this. This is a good assessment. Also, it sounds like we got an Australian guy here locking in on Destiny. I always respect the Australian Destiny fans because if you don't know, they have been getting shafted harder than any Destiny player in the history of all time. Because the reset in Australia is like 3 a.m. Imagine you want to play some new content in Destiny and you got at 3 a.m. the new raid drops, at 3 a.m. the new season drops. Tuesday reset happens at 3 a.m. in the morning. Oh my God. You have to be a fucking real one. If you're an Australian Destiny player, I fuck with you. You're a real guardian of the light, okay? The Traveler smiles upon you. Like, you actually love Destiny. Like, most of us, we get home from work, okay? Over there in the UK, 5 p.m. reset time, 6 p.m. reset time in the UK. You get off work, you go home, Destiny reset. Perfect. Must be nice. Yeah, must really, really convenient being a guardian for you, all right? The UK gamers. America resets at like noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West Coast, you know? It's not bad. It's reasonable. But the Australians, dude, you guys, you had it rough. For 10 years, you had it rough.
That has been the Destiny cycle for years. But now, Destiny players are in a weird spot. Bungie has said Destiny 2's final live service content update happened on June 9th this year, with the game staying playable, but active development is done. And that leaves a lot of players asking the same question. Where do we go now? Because even if Destiny 2 stays playable, that's not the same as having your main live service game still growing in front of you. So today we're looking at 3 games that could become a new home for Destiny players.
All right.
Warframe, The First Descendants,
Gooner Games mentioned. Oh,
and The Division 2,
The Division
while
3
we wait
soon.
for The Division
That's
3.
what I'm saying. This is a good list
Now,
right
I'm not
here.
saying any of these games replace Destiny perfectly. They don't. Destiny had its own feel, its own world, its own gunplay, its own magic. But if you're a Destiny player looking around thinking, mate, what do I grind now? These might be the best options we've got. Let's get into it. The thing with Destiny is that it became a habit. Not always a healthy habit. Sometimes it was the gaming equivalent of saying, I'm done with this toxic relationship. Then 3 days later, you're back in orbit checking in with Xur like nothing ever happened. But that's what made it special. Destiny had this ability to annoy you, burn you out, disappoint you, and still somehow pull you back in when a new expansion, exotic mission, raid, or dungeon dropped. And I think that's why this moment feels strange, because players aren't just asking what game is similar to Destiny, they're asking what game can give me that feeling again. That feeling of logging in and having something to chase, a build to finish, a weapon to farm, a character to improve, a reason to talk to your mates and say, oi, jump on tonight.
That's the most Australian thing I've ever heard. Go talk to your mates and say, oi. That's funny shit right there. Oh, God.
We're farming this. That's the part that is hard to replace, because Destiny wasn't just a looter shooter, it was a routine. And when a routine disappears, players start looking for somewhere else to put that energy. So the real question is not, what is the Destiny killer? Because honestly, that phrase needs to be taken out the back and buried.
What is the Destiny filler? That's what we're saying, dude. Destiny filler. What fills the void? What fills me? Wait, maybe, okay.
The real question is, what
Edit that
part
out.
of Destiny did you love? Because depending on your answer, your next game might be different. Before we talk about the games, we need to be honest. Nothing here is a perfect Destiny replacement. If what you love most is Bungie's gun feel, nothing else really feels exactly like that. If what you love is raids,
Yeah, we're cooked, basically. If you just like Bungie's gunplay, then yeah, you're fucked. You know, go play Marathon, I guess, for like the next 2 months till that game's gone.
these games won't
I
all
love this. This is like, that should have just roll credits right there. If you like the gameplay, you're fucked, mate. You're fucked. Right? You're never going to find another game like this.
scratch that itch. If what you love is the world of Guardians, the Traveler, the Light, the Darkness, Cade, Crow, Zavala, Ikora, the Hive, the Witness, you're not going to get that exact thing somewhere else. And that's okay. We're not looking for a clone, we're looking for a new home. A game that gives us a reason to grind, a reason to build, a reason to care, a reason to come back. So I'm going to look at these 3 games from the perspective of a Destiny player. What do they do well? What might pull you in? What might push you away? And who are they exactly for? Because Warframe, the First Descendant, and The Division are all live service looter style games, but they are very different beasts. One is an overwhelming space ninja monster. One is a newer, free-to-play contender still trying to prove itself. And one is a grounded tactical looter shooter that has quietly kept going while also getting the sequel step that Destiny players really wanted. So let's start with the big one. Warframe is probably the strongest option if what you loved about Destiny was the...
If they could just, can we get like a Warframe mod that makes it first person? Dude, all I'm saying is, if there was a way you could mod it and it could look like Destiny, you were like running around with a fucking Ace of Spades in your hand or something, or whatever guns they got over there, right? All I'm saying is that would help. I know that the movement's really fast in that game. You're like doing, like I've played it a decent amount, right? So like the barrel rolls and the movement might be a bit disjarring in first person, but it'd be cool if you could really, you know, like just play first person. That alone would raise Warframe. It's already, in my mind, Warframe's at like a 7 or an 8 in terms of a Destiny replacement. That would raise it up a full point, like 1 whole point above that. You still would want some end game, you know, and I'm not trying to turn Warframe into Destiny, by the way. I'm just saying, like, what I'm speaking to is why Warframe doesn't quite scratch the itch in the same way. I'm not saying, I know the Warframe players are going to jump me and say, oh, stop trying to turn our game into your dead game or whatever, right? All right. And I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying to talk about is why it's not exactly the same thing and why it's not my favorite game. Like, I like Warframe. I play it. It's there. You know, there's plenty to do. It's great that it's completely free. It's awesome. But there's a few missing ingredients, I guess.
Long-term grind. This game is ridiculous. And I mean that in the best way. There is so much content, so many systems, so many frames, so many weapons, so many resources, so many quests, so many currencies, so many menus, that as a new or returning player, you can log in and feel like you've actually opened a spaceship tax return. But once it clicks, mate, Warframe is dangerous. Because Warframe gives you that feeling of always having something to chase. A new frame, a new weapon, a new prime part, a mod, a build, a story quest, a faction, a reputation grind. A new system you don't understand yet, but apparently everyone else has been farming it since 2017, and that's the magic. Warframe is not Destiny with space ninjas, it's its own monster. It is faster, weirder, more chaotic, more confusing, more generous in some ways, more overwhelming in others. But if you are looking for a game that feels alive, Warframe is hard to ignore. Digital Extremes is still pushing the game forward, and Warframe is heading into a new system called Tau later in 2026, with the official TennoCon recap describing Tau as a new journey beyond the Origin system, starting with a sentient city ruined by criminality and corruption. And that's the part that has me interested. I'm gonna be catching up on the Warframe story properly
slot
because
machines?
I really want to get ready to head off to Tau. And they also showed off this noir-inspired Warframe coming with the fall 2026 update. Briscoe, I think his name is. And mate, that whole noir style direction looks cool as hell. That's the sort of thing that gets me excited. Not just new gun, new number, but a new vibe, a new destination, a new story direction.
Yo, Tau Ceti 4 coming to Warframe? What the hell?
Game that has been around for over a decade, still saying, yeah, we're not done yet. That's why Warframe is the safest recommendation on this list. It has survived, it has evolved, it has a strong community, and if you're a Destiny player who wants a huge game to sink into, Warframe might be the best new home. But there is a warning. Warframe is not easy to enter, in my opinion. The new player experience can be rough, the story takes time to get going, the systems can feel like someone threw 1,000 mechanics down the stairs and asked you to sort them out alphabetically. So if you try Warframe, just don't expect to understand everything immediately. You won't. Nobody does. Half the community is still pretending they understand everything. But if you stick with it, there is a massive game waiting for you. And unlike a lot of live service games, Warframe feels like it has earned its player loyalty.
You know what's crazy? And this is like the worst thing I'm going to say right now, so prepare to clip it and cancel me. I feel like I would love to get into Warframe. I'm still going to play it like on the side, but I would love to get into Warframe if it just came out today. You know, like there's an element of like being there at the start versus like being 13 years behind. You kind of feel like I don't know how to describe it. You feel like a LARPer. Yeah. You're like, oh yeah. Hey there, fellow. What do you even call them? Tennos? Hey there, fellow Tennos. You know, like with the skateboard meme. Always was a big Tenno over here, right? So that's part of the, I don't know if I would say it's an issue, but it's like, it's harder to get into it. And I'm not saying that they should make a Warframe 2. Obviously, that's not necessarily going to, it's not going to make anyone happy probably. But it would be interesting if there was, it would be interesting if the whole timeline was shifted and Warframe launched brand new today. Then you could like be a part of the beginning and, you know. So I feel like there's an element of Destiny people when they came to Destiny, they just don't know anything, and explaining things, it's like you can learn a lot, but you still just don't know anything, even after like a year. Like imagine a new player came into Destiny in, let's say, Edge of Fate, right? You know, imagine explaining to him what Destiny 2 Year 1 was like. You'd be like, what? Like, huh? Like, imagine explaining 2 tokens in a blue. Like, what's that mean? What's what? You know, like, it would be so confusing, right? Like, there's so many, like, little bits that are so ingrained in the culture and, like, the memes and the history and the humor. And it's not that you had to be there to understand it necessarily, because people can explain the context and you can like get the jokes. But there is an element of like when you actually were there, it feels more like it resonates stronger with you, you know? And so I can't go back in time and be a Warframe player, but I kind of wish I could. I'm going to continue to play it a little bit and be like basically a Warframe LARPer, but it's just, there's something off, right? I almost want to play a new game that comes out that has Destiny's aura, because then you could be there day one and kind of relive Destiny all over again, or a variant of Destiny of some kind. That'd be awesome. That would be best case scenario. That's why people want Destiny 3. You know, it's not just because of make the number bigger necessarily. It's because, you know, a fresh start in some ways.
Now, let's talk about the First Descendants. This one is interesting because it's probably the easiest visual jump for a modern Destiny player. It's flashy, it's clean, it has big characters, big guns, it has abilities, it has bosses.
Is that just a fucking dog running around? There's just a dog named Ralphie, a regular ass dog, as I'm fighting an alien and shooting guns at it.
It has loot,
a German Shepherd out here,
and it's free to play. So on the surface, this might look like the obvious try this game next. And to be fair, there is a lot of fun here. I've been catching up on the First Descendant myself, pushing towards the end game and waiting to see what Season 4 brings, because this game is still active. Nexon has been laying out Season 4 plans with reporting pointing towards new content like mega dungeon updates, new weapons, a new Ultimate Haley, and more updates through the 2026 roadmap. So this is not some dead game people are just remembering. It's still going, it's still trying. And
This game is struggling a little bit though, in terms of its like population and stuff. I don't know. I'm not gonna, judge an entire game entirely on its Steam chart performance, but it seems like the game has pretty dwindled, and it's not saying it's going to die necessarily, but it feels like it's on its the latter half of its shelf life.
that matters. Because for Destiny players, the First Descendant might be appealing if you want something more modern and straightforward than Warframe. Warframe can feel like you need a university degree in space nonsense before you understand what you're doing. The First Descendant is easier to look at and go, okay, I shoot things, collect gear, unlock characters, fight bosses, get stronger. That simplicity can be a strength. The characters are cool, the abilities are flashy, the boss fights can look great, and the game absolutely has the I want to get stronger and unlock more stuff energy. But here's the issue. The First Descendant still needs to prove it has staying power. That's the big question right now. It had a huge launch, a lot of people tried it, but keeping players in this genre is hard. Destiny players are not easy to impress anymore either. We've been through years of expansions, resets, buffs, nerfs, sunsetting, loot drama, seasonal models, god rolls, exotic missions, and enough "the game is dead" videos to power YouTube for a decade. So when a new looter shooter comes along, we don't just ask, is it fun for the weekend? We ask, is it worth hundreds of hours? And the First Descendant is still answering that question. For me, that's why I'm catching up now. I want to hit endgame. I want to see what the grind actually feels like when the honeymoon is over. And I want to see whether Season 4 can push the game forward. Because the potential is there, but potential's not enough. In this genre, the loop has to hold. The loot has to matter. The builds have to be exciting. The game has to respect your time enough that the grind feels rewarding, not like punishment with particle effects. So the First Descendant is the risky option. It might become a real long-term contender, or it might become one of those games people mention in a few years and say, do you remember when people tried that game?
Probably the latter.
But right now, it is active. It is improving. And if you're a Destiny player who wants something newer, flashier, and easier to jump into than Warframe, it might be worth a look. Just go in knowing that this one still has something to prove. Then we have The Division. And mate,
Dude, this
The
thing.
Division is a completely different...
Remember when we did an update on The Division and we found out that there was 5 devs currently working on The Division 2? 5 devs. Keeping the lights on. That was crazy.
flavor. If Warframe is Space Ninja Chaos and the First Descendant is glossy sci-fi power fantasy, The Division is the grounded option. No space magic, no bullet jumping, no alien gods, no robot suit.
Why do they always have to be third person? I swear every other looter shooter, I get that like the systems and the mechanics for the looter shooter aspect of it require a ton of development, right? And probably even like the replayability of a given mission, but it sucks that like they always got to go third person. I swear it's like Destiny was so good because it was the first person option as well. If Destiny was third person, I hate to say it, guys, but I might not have grinded Destiny like it was. Could you imagine a world where Destiny was just third person? Would that really fuck it up for you? I just want to know. Give me an honest assessment. If Destiny was third person, day one, D1, all the way through, what do you think that would have done for you? Would it have mattered at all? Would you care? Would have been a lot more 3-peaking in Crucible, that's for sure.
Doing backflips through dimensions. Just you, a gun, a backpack full of gear, and a city.
Someone said it's that Halo magic. I would have still played Destiny, that's for sure. Because I played the other third person ones. I just don't know if it has that same level of immersion or if I get as addicted to it necessarily. And obviously Bungie came from Halo, so they're going to put that magic that they had with Halo into that Destiny and then into Destiny 2 by extension, and maybe with, the advancement of technology and with these Bungie devs, floating around and working on all these different studios now, I presume, maybe all future first-person shooter games will have that Bungie magic, because it's really nice, right? Like, there's something about if you just stand in a patrol zone anywhere and just shoot your hand cannon and reload it, the sounds, the visuals, everything about it just feels really visceral and nice. And so for me, I think the first person really meant a lot for Destiny, and it was kind of just the cherry on the cake. Obviously, the replayability is key, the loot, the systems, all of that is really important. But the first person, I think, is the cherry on the cake. I wish that everyone, all these looter shooter studios, I wish they kind of had this similar vision and they were willing to make a game ambitious enough to be first person.
That has had an absolutely terrible week. And honestly, that's what makes The Division special. The Division 2 still has one of the best looter shooter settings ever made, in my opinion. Washington DC overrun, broken, dangerous, full of factions, control points, dark zones, gear builds, world tiers, difficulty levels, events, and that constant feeling of this place has gone to hell, but at least I found a better pair of gloves. It's slower than Destiny, more tactical, more cover-based, more grounded. You're not throwing Nova bombs or bouncing around like a caffeinated ninja. You're working angles, using skills, managing gear, and trying not to get melted by some bloke in a hoodie with armor plating and a suspicious amount of confidence. And The Division is also the game on this list that got something Destiny players never really got: a confirmed next step. Massive Entertainment says The Division 3 is being led by Massive and that the team is actively recruiting for the next entry.
Pick up some Bungie devs now, I guess. I wonder if Ubisoft, because it's going through a lot of troubles, I wonder if that will affect The Division 3 at all. Hopefully not. I want this game to come out. I want this game to land well, too. I will be there. I will be playing this for sure. This, in terms of the roadmap of the Destiny players' roadmap, this is on everyone's roadmap, or should be. Because if you really liked some of the magic in Destiny, you're not finding that even in this game necessarily, but you will find a lot of the same people here. So those same Destiny friends or that same, Destiny vibe will be in this game as well. So it's probably worth it to give it a try, I would say.
That's a big deal because Destiny players wanted that feeling. A proper next chapter, a clean step forward, this is where the franchise goes next moment. The Division actually has that on the horizon. Now, The Division 3 is not here yet. We don't have all the details. We don't know exactly when it's coming. So I'm not saying drop everything and wait at the front door. But what I'm saying is The Division has a future. And until then, The Division 2 is still a game I'll jump back into every now and then. They keep doing new events. They keep doing updates. And sometimes it's nice to just hang out in the world again. You jump in, do the event, test the build, clear some control points, maybe run some activities, and just live in that tactical loot space for a bit. It doesn't need to be your only game. That's important. The Division 2 can be the game you return to between bigger releases, the game you jump into when there's a new event, the game you play while waiting for The Division 3. And for some Destiny players, that might actually be perfect, because not everyone wants another game that demands their whole life. Sometimes you just want a strong world, good builds, a reason to log in without feeling you've signed a blood contract with a seasonal vendor. The downside? The Division is not going to replace Destiny's sci-fi fantasy. It won't give you raids in the same way, even though it does have some good raids. It won't give you the space magic. It won't feel as fast. And if you need that big cosmic story energy, The Division probably won't be enough by itself. But if you love loot, builds, tactical combat, atmosphere, and grounded progression, The Division is still one of the strongest options in the genre. So if you're a Destiny player looking for a new home, which one should you try? I'd break it down like this. if you loved the long-term grind, collecting, account progression, build crafting, and always having something to chase, try Warframe. It's massive, it's active, it's confusing, but it might be the closest thing to a true long-term live service home. If you want something newer, cleaner, more modern looking, with character collecting, flashy powers, guns, bosses, and an active roadmap, the roadmap that we didn't get for Destiny, try the First Descendant.
Yo, they got a roadmap?
Just understand that it's still proving itself. You might love it, you might bounce off it, but if Season 4 hits, it could be worth paying attention to. If you want grounded loot, tactical builds, cover shooter combat, atmosphere, events with a franchise with a confirmed future, try The Division 2. Especially if you want something to jump into casually while waiting for The Division 3. And if what you loved about Destiny was Bungie gunplay, raids, and that exact feeling of being a Guardian,
then you are absolutely cooked.
Then I'll be honest, nothing fully replaces that. And maybe that's the point. Maybe Destiny players aren't really looking for a clone. Maybe we're
No, it just ruined my day, dude. That's hard to hear.
looking for somewhere that gives us a reason to care again. Maybe that's what Destiny did at its best. It made people care about loot, about characters, about worlds, about builds, about raids, about moments with mates, and that's the hard part to replace. The good news is that looter shooters are not dead, they're just changing. Destiny might be winding down, but Warframe is heading to Tau, the First Descendant is still pushing towards Season 4, The Division has The Division 3 in development, Borderlands is even still around.
Hey, Borderlands mentioned, let's go.
There are still games fighting for this space, and honestly that makes me excited. Because for years, Destiny was the center of gravity for a lot of players. Even when people were angry at it, they were still talking about it. Still making builds, still checking resets, still watching trailers, still hoping the next thing would fix everything. But if Destiny is no longer that main live service home for you, maybe that's not the end. Maybe it's a chance to try something new. Maybe you become a Tenno. Maybe you become a Descendant. Maybe you become an Agent.
Maybe become a Gooner.
Maybe you bounce between all three like an absolute loot goblin with commitment issues. And honestly, that might be the best option. Because I don't think one game has to replace Destiny completely. Maybe the new normal is having a few games that scratch different parts of that itch. Warframe for the long-term grind, the First Descendant for the new contender energy, The Division for grounded tactical loot, and Destiny for the memories, the occasional return, and the fact that some of us will probably never fully uninstall it because we're emotionally damaged. That's just the truth. So Destiny players, where do we go now? I don't think there is one answer, and maybe that's okay. For me, I'm going to keep catching up in Warframe because Tau looks seriously cool and I want to be ready for that noir style update and the new frame. I'm going to keep pushing through The Descendant because I want to hit that end game and see if Season 4 can really move the game forward. And I'll still jump into The Division 2 when new events and updates come around, because that world still has something no other looter shooter really has. Different games, different moods, different types of grind. And maybe that's the play. Not replacing Destiny with one game, but finding a few new places to hunt loot. Because the thing Destiny gave us wasn't just one game. It gave us the love of the chase, the perfect role, the build that finally works, the mission that drops something rare, the moment you call your mate and say, "Get on, we're farming this tonight." That doesn't have to die with Destiny's live service era. It just has to move somewhere else. So if you're a Destiny player feeling a bit lost right now, you're not alone. A lot of us are looking around too, and maybe the next home isn't one game. Maybe it's the whole genre. So that's my look at where Destiny players might go next. But I want to hear from you. Are you moving to Warframe? Are you trying out the First Descendant? Are you jumping back into the Division 2 while waiting for the Division 3?
No, I'll just be sulking in my Destiny 2 crippling depression. That's a great video from the Loot Stash here. And he gives a breakdown of where people will go now that Destiny is dead. We've been talking about this for a long time because, well, Destiny's been on the decline. Kind of wondering what is the next thing, not just for Destiny, but for the looter shooter space. There's a bunch of other games that didn't even make the list for him here. Deep Rock Galactic comes to mind. Trying to think of some others that are still alive and well. Those are probably the biggest ones, at least. There's a few other small iterations out there. Yeah, Destiny was an interesting amalgamation of ingredients, right? You got the first-person shooter aspect, which is what you start off with. You load into and you play through, narrative, play through a campaign, which helps with that immersion and world building and explains the story and the lore of the game. Gives you that first experience. I think a good campaign is always fun especially for these games. And then afterwards, you're just left to grind your gear, grind your loot up, and get ready for the end game raids. Sucks because I'm trying to think, if you could think of an ingredient that could be stripped from Destiny 2, it's hard to think of something that could go and it would still have that magic. It's almost like Destiny 2 is this thing that only works with like these 5 moving parts and nothing else. So it's kind of a frustrating dilemma in some ways, right? Like Gambit could go, of course. But other than Gambit, it's like, I don't even know what else could go. I kind of wish that, do you remember how Highguard looked? Remember like it was a first-person shooter game, but it wasn't like the cleanest first-person shooter. I feel like a game that has like that, I wouldn't hate it that much, just because it's like, first person. It's a little more clunky than Destiny perhaps, but I feel like that should be the vision for some of these guys here. I feel like third person is kind of like, I don't know, I'm an armchair developer right now, but I feel like third person is like a cop-out because they can't do first person. That's the hill I die on. They try to make first person, it's too hard, so they cop out and they go third person. That's the only reason I can see why. That, or maybe they're trying to sell more cosmetics, but for the most part, that seems to be the reason. Which sucks, though, because first person, he's the best. But let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. Where will the Destiny players go now? And more importantly, is what will be the next new game? Because those games are out and kind of old, and like we said, it's harder to get into a game once it's been out for 13 years, like Warframe here. But what happens when there's a new game? What will be the big one that kind of scoops up the Destiny players? If there is one, these games take a while to make. So it's like, if there already was one in production, that would mean that they were trying to come out and compete with Destiny. But if there isn't one in production, there might suddenly be the green light for one, and that would take years for it to come out. So I don't know, man. We might never get a Destiny replacement. Hopefully Sony locks in and gets us something, though. Because we need more Destiny. Even if you have Warframe, it's great. I think it's awesome. First Ascendant, Division 3, Borderlands. They just don't quite do it the same way, They miss it. They miss the magic of Destiny, in my opinion. All right. On to the next one. What about Soulframe? Yeah, Soulframe's coming out pretty soon. Hopefully that does well. That's going to be another third-person thing. So I don't know what that is going to entail. We want the whole journey again. Destiny 2 Classic. That would be... I mean, it's too soon for a Classic. It's definitely too soon for Classic. You get a pet dog? No way. All right. The Destiny streamers are all making their goodbye videos, and I'm going to cry in today's video. Fallout plays, you all changed my life. Thank you. Clyde, my future beyond Destiny 2. Dado announced his retirement. Paul Tassi said he stopped playing. Oh, man. This is brutal. Let's see what Fallout plays is cooking up today.
What up, you nerds? Fallout here. Just got home from GCX, aka the Gaming Community Expo, formerly Guardian Con. I can already feel my voice starting to go a little bit, but I wanted to talk about everything.
He's got that COVID-20, that's for sure.
That happened while I was there. So many stories to share, wonderful moments that I will remember forever, and then I will share some personal feelings about the future, which I will save for the end of the video. But yeah, not only is there a lot that I want to share about personally, but hopefully this can be an entertaining listen for those who weren't able to attend GCX this year. Maybe you can feel a tiny bit like you were there by hearing me tell a few of these stories. Also, stick around until the end of the video, not just for me sharing some personal feelings and updates, but also to learn about how one of you can win this, a giant Destiny poster featuring the signatures of some of your favorite content creators and voice actors. And also a different giveaway that has actually been going on for like a month and a half now that I've hidden clues for that nobody has found yet. Anyway, let's talk. And if this turns into a hodgepodge of random encounters and events, I apologize. I'll try not to jump around too hard with my storytelling. I'm gonna admit, I originally was thinking about not attending GCX this year. This was maybe around very early 2026. With the state of Destiny being what it was at the time, I wasn't sure if I was up for another GCX trip. But then eventually we got the news, right? The news that no new content would be coming to Destiny 2 ever again, and the game would be reaching its final shape, so to speak. And then I think me and every other content creator out there had the exact same change of heart. We had to go to GCX now because this was basically the end of an era. And yeah, GCX will continue going forward. It's not the last GCX. They've already announced plans for 2027, now featuring, I think, a 3-day pass with some universal package baked into it or something like that. But after the announcement about D2 coming to an end, it felt that GCX 2026 was going to be the last hurrah. It was going to be the year for a lot of Destiny players and creators, and I knew that one way or another I had to go. And in short, I'm really glad that I did. While a lot of conversations I had were very melancholy, the vast majority of people who I talked to and the vibe of the entire convention was just a celebration of Destiny and of the community. My meet and greet was on Friday, and I met so many people, good lord, more than any other time I had been to GCX, which is saying a lot. The majority of people I met and talked to told me it was their first ever time coming to the convention. convention, which was awesome. A few of them were actually wearing my brand new Pantheon shirt that I put out last month, which made me extra happy, of course. I spoke with people for hours for my meet and greet, and eventually the GCX staff had to tell people they could no longer wait in line to talk with me, which sounds mean, but they're just doing their job, and they had to get ready for the next wave of meet and greet people. But it ended up being okay, because when my meet and greet was over, I basically just moved 30 feet over into some random area on the convention floor, and people just continued to form an impromptu but out of the way line. And that kind of happened a lot, actually, getting dadoed, as somebody called it. After talking with people pretty much all day on Friday, on Saturday I showed up, and almost immediately I bumped into Luke CB14 from
The Twitter troll, Luke.
Twitter, and I asked him if he would be willing to sign my Destiny poster, which he was happy to do. So we walked over to a random table where he signed a few things that I was carrying, and we only chatted for like a minute. And when I turned around, a line of people had formed, people who wanted to talk with either me or him or the both of us. And I want to be really clear, I found that to be awesome. I didn't really manage to fully walk around the convention center this year because I kept getting stopped to chat with people like every 5 feet, but I legit would not have it any other way. Again, I met so many people for the first time, and all of their stories were awesome. Just one example out of literally hundreds, a guy who came up to me and told me he was a music teacher, and according to him, the way I approached explaining and breaking down encounters in my raid guides inspired him to change the way he taught music to his students, which is both strange and incredible. Oh, and I'm jumping around a little bit here, but as my original meet and greet was close to ending, I realized I was actually at a table directly next to Mark Meir, professional voice actor with many roles you'd probably know right away, including the male voice for Commander Shepard. We talked about the strange worlds of both content creation and voice acting, and he was such a genuine delight to talk to. Great guy. I am kicking myself a little bit because I didn't record it, but I asked if he could give me a quick
report to the ship as soon as possible. We're bang, okay?
Which he laughed about, and then he did. What an awesome guy. And speaking of awesome guys, Brian Villalobos. What a damn pleasure that guy is. If you didn't know, Brian is the voice actor for Lodi, and not only is he really charismatic and fun to talk to, but he actually has spent a fair amount of time playing Destiny 2 because he wanted to better get to know the world and the community. If you missed the YouTube video recap we did, me, Brian, and My Name is Bife all played through the Final Shape campaign together so he could experience it firsthand, and it was one of the most fun streams we've ever done. Brian and I had been DMing each other in the weeks leading up to GCX just because he was kinda interested in knowing exactly what the overall experience was gonna be like. And I told him, get ready, dude, because the community is just gonna go wild the moment you show up. And yeah, that is basically exactly what happened. I'll tell you about the Destiny retrospective he was on in just a minute, but first, a more personal story. My community and Joey's community, aka Joverated, a streamer and very dear friend of mine, despite the fact that we always kind of tease each other repeatedly, the two of us decided to do a joint community event in the form of a bowling night at the Cabana Hotel, something we had done in years past. It was a great turnout. A lot of people from our community showed up, and as I'd been DMing with Brian and told him about our event, he showed up too. And I'ma be totally real. I was extremely nervous because the moment he rolled into the bowling alley, he got, respectfully, but immediately swarmed by a bunch of adoring fans. And I was really terrified, but this was all okay because I learned that these folks were part of a Discord community that Brian had already been in contact with. He'd mentioned to them he would be making the rounds. In short, he already knew who most of these folks were. These were his people. He'd been chatting them up already. But yeah, I was terrified for a minute there. I was thinking, oh God, what have I done? Lodi's gonna get fucking mobbed and trampled or something. But no, these were his people, and I still made sure to check in with him multiple times throughout community bowling night to make sure he was good, not feeling overwhelmed, all that stuff. He was incredibly kind and gracious, and he assured me multiple times he was not only fine, but completely in his element, which he truly was. And that was especially apparent at the Destiny retrospective event, which took place on the GCX main stage, where both Professor Broman and Gathalion live hosted a discussion with 3 voice actors. Mara Juno, aka the voice of Ikora Ray as of 2021, Brandon O'Neill, aka the voice actor of Uldren and Crow, and Brian Villalobos, the voice of Lodi. I was really lucky that I managed to get in there and get a seat because the auditorium, or whatever you want to call it, was completely full. I'm talking like max capacity. And we all sat there completely enthralled as these three voice actors spoke with Cathalion and Broman about what voicing these characters meant to them, and also what the world of Destiny meant to them as a whole. And even though he was the newest addition to the cast and only was a really recent part of the story itself, Brian was just speaking to everyone in the crowd with such a relatable, warm, and thankful energy. It was just incredible. The entire panel was streamed live on Twitch, and if you haven't watched it yet, I 100% recommend that you take the time to find the VOD and watch or listen to it. The stories told by these voice actors all were so filled with passion. It was so interesting hearing all the behind the scenes moments and their favorite lines, favorite moments of the story, their favorite parts of their voice actor journey with Destiny. You could really tell that this franchise meant a lot to all of them. I was incredibly happy that during the panel, Cathalion and Broman mentioned that they had a quick special message from somebody who really wanted to be there but couldn't, and then a video of Bife started playing up on the main screen. I'm telling you, I couldn't even hear what the first 10 seconds of the message was because the crowd went absolutely bananas.
Greetings, Guardians.
It was a really heartfelt message, though. It helped kill some of the sadness that I had about my friend not being able to be there, because I really was sad that Bife wasn't able to make it. But yeah, all through the panel, the crowd shared a lot of laughs, a couple "We Want D3" chants, one that was started by Brian. And at the very end of the panel, one of the cameramen ran down to the stage and took a giant community group.
That's me. I'm right there. We got the 3 up. It's time for Destiny 3.
Photo of the entire crowd, which was awesome. All in all, it was probably one of the most memorable panels or memorable moments of the entire convention, without question. I actually spent a little time on the big stage myself, helping Joe Verated, Cathalion, and Scaro live commentate the SRL tournament, which was a lot of fun. Now, some of you might be wondering why I didn't actually play in the SRL tournament, because I kinda talk a big game on Sparrow Racing, which, fair question. But I mean, I had to give everybody else a chance, right? But I did enter and win the Halo tournament, which the attendance was pretty light. Way more people signed up for the Marvel Rivals tourney, which is kind of expected, but oh well. But yeah, light attendance or not, for the Halo tourney, I still have a giant badass Halo championship belt, so that's cool. And I wound up showing my belt to Matt Mercer, by the way, who I got to meet while I was there. That doesn't really have anything to do with anything else that I'm talking about right now. I'm just really happy about the fact that I got to have a full 5-minute conversation with Matt Mercer, and that was great. I will remember that forever. But on the subject of my belt and people winning things, holy Christ, I heard that somebody finally won the Cinnabon Challenge.
No way.
If you're unfamiliar, the Cinnabon Challenge has been going on for several years now at GCX. It is a whole thing that was started by Glad. In a nutshell, you have to eat 6 entire Cinnabons in 30 minutes. Now, this is usually the point where if I mention that...
How many calories is that? How many calories is in 6 Cinnabons? $5,280 calories? Are you trying to get someone killed, Glad? Oh my God. You instantly unlock the achievement of diabetes. Holy shit.
While I'm streaming on Twitch, people in the chat usually say things like, "Bro, that's so easy. Oh my God, I could do that easy." To which I'll remind you, Cinnabons are way bigger than most people realize, and 6 of them contain around 5,500 calories. For the last, I want to say 5 or 6 years, people have shown up extremely confident, claiming
You have to be like a professional eater. You have to be like Matt Stoney or something crazy. Like, you can't just casually pull up and be like, yeah, I could eat that. Like, you have to be a championship level competition eater or whatever those guys are. This guy, dude, that was him right there. I like this. This guy, he reminds me, he's got like a Peter Griffin look to him, dude. Of course, a Peter Griffin pulls up and just fucking mows down 5K calories. in less than 30 minutes. That's incredible, dude. This is honestly, this is a real story right here, dude.
They can do it, and up until this year, nobody has ever been able to finish 4 without tapping out or puking or both. But this year, somebody finally did it. Pigs.
They should have got him a world's first raid belt, a literal Cinnabon, like a cinnamon roll world's first raid belt. Come on.
Love Bacon on Twitter. What a goddamn legend. I wasn't able to watch it in person because I was getting ready for my community bowling night, but I've seen the videos, I've seen the pictures. Incredible. And again, if you're watching this and thinking, yo, I can do that so easy, please stream yourself doing so, because I would love to watch you realize what fresh hell you've walked into when you hit byte 50 and still have so much more to go. Oh, right. If you're wondering how to get your hands on this poster that got signed by so many awesome content creators, along with Brian and Mara, aka the voices of Lodi and Ikora, it is going to be a giveaway on my Twitch channel during the month of August. Swing by my channel anytime I'm live this week or during the month of August, and I'll tell you about it, but good luck to everybody. Can't wait to send this to one lucky person. And speaking of signed collectibles, there's one I thought somebody would have won by now, but more on that in a minute. For right now, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going anywhere. I mean, I don't plan on going anywhere. But the 2 questions I got asked the most during the convention were, 1, are you coming next year? And 2, so what now? So why don't we go over the former first? Am I coming back next year? I don't know. I really wish I had a better answer than that, but GCX this year felt very unique, very special. I feel like even though GCX is now the Gaming Community Expo, they have a lot of interesting panels and they have a bunch of stuff for other video games like Marvel Rivals and the Fallout universe and stuff like that. I feel like such a major core part of GCX is tied to Destiny. And I don't know, I feel like this was the year. I feel like this was the year.
I'll be there. I've been there at every single one. But there's a problem with G6, which is you're getting the introverts to leave their houses. This is the big issue. The Destiny content creators, they sit inside, they play games, you know, they record their videos, they do their streams. We're not going outside though. But once a year, we should all agree to leave the house and go to Florida. This is all I ask. It's a great time seeing everyone there. Got to see Fallout and various others. It was cool.
Where everyone was coming by for one final hurrah. I've talked to a lot of content creators who aren't sure if they're going to go back next year. Maybe if they do, it might just be to catch up with friends, which is a lot of the reason why I go every year, to catch up with a lot of people who I really enjoy seeing. But I don't know if I'm going to go back next year. It felt really special this year. It felt like kind of maybe a natural close to the Destiny experience at GCX. I really don't know. I don't have an answer. It
would be wise for GCX. I'm not sure what they're trying to do, but it'd be wise if they became more affiliated with like another game in some ways, you know, like now without the Destiny thing going on, it's kind of like they're floating and they're kind of just a gaming expo. And they obviously do really good charity work. It'd be smart if they could like partner up with TennoCon or something, right? Like the two are close. Like TennoCon happened this year, and then a few weeks later there was GCX. So I'm saying if you could partner up with them in some ways, or have like a Warframe booth at GCX, you could kind of, you know, have a new core game. That, or you just continue with Destiny. Fuck it, dude. Destiny forever until they shut the servers off.
We'll try to keep you posted if I have a change of heart, because I really do love coming down and I really love spending time with everybody and hearing all of your stories about what this game meant to you and what being part of this community meant to you, and what your favorite streamers and content and everything meant to you. It means the world to me, and I really do want to keep going because I really do love hearing those stories, but I don't know. I'll keep you posted. But in case this was my final GCX, I want you all to know that you're all fantastic and wonderful, and I will not trade these memories for anything. All the stories that you told me and the moments you shared, they're really special. I was like, you're not gonna break. Don't worry, you're not gonna break. But thank you for everything. Again, not going anywhere. I'm gonna keep doing my thing, which brings me to question number 2, which was like, so what's next? What's gonna happen? What's going on? I also don't know. Part of the fun and the magic of being a streamer and a content creator and a YouTuber is not really knowing what you're gonna stumble into next. I've been playing a lot of games over the years, in and out, along with Destiny. We've been playing Helldivers and Arc Raiders. I've been trying out Pal World, which is crazy. Dead by Daylight. We have the Division 3 coming down the line. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there. And I'm definitely not completely finished with Destiny. There's still plenty of things I want to do. More things I want to engage with my community. I want to play more Pantheon with friends, and I want to do tough solo challenges and things like that. But sorry, I told myself I wouldn't do this. but yeah, there's a whole wide world out there that a world of content and new games that I'm going to explore. And I hope that many of you out there will stay and join me as I explore whatever comes next. And it might be strange and weird. We might break into new territory. Some of it might be fun. Some might be challenging. Some might not hit, but we're going to do our best. And whether it's here on the YouTube channel or over on Twitch, always excited to experience whatever we get into together. And again, thank you. Because one way or the other, you guys have changed my life. Truly. All of you have changed my life. And there's nothing else I can say other than thank you. And here's to whatever's next. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being part of my community. Thank you for being you. And I'll see you next time. Oh my God, the Hunter poster. I forgot about the Hunter poster. I have hidden clues in YouTube videos. I think from the month of June, there's like 4 videos total. There are clues. Go find them. Okay, bye.
All right, there it is. That was Fallout's video of Y'all Changed My Life. Thank you. Give an update on GCX and his plans. It's crazy to see what's next for a lot of these Destiny guys. You know, not everyone's going to be able to play Destiny for the next, few more months. Probably no one will be making Destiny videos in like 2027. Let's be real. So it's kind of the last hurrah for a lot of us, and figuring out what the next chapter looks like. Everyone's going to disperse like the Witness when he died and the echoes came out. Who knows where we'll land? Some Arc Raiders, some Warframe, some, who knows, some Gooner game out there, right? But an interesting update from Fallout. All right. Let's go here. Okay, good. It's Clyde's giving his. Dude, I don't know if I can cry twice in one day, dude. Now we've got Clyde's future. Oh man. Oh man, this is sad, dude. What? All the Destiny creators. We have to do a compilation of all the videos together in one. All right, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick before we lock in on the next one, chat. So give me a moment. I'll be right back. Bear beat. All right, so here we go. On to the next bit. Yeah, we had Clyde. All right, here we go. Let's do this. The Destiny 2 content creators are giving their farewells. Dado announced his retirement. Paul Tassi said he will be leaving Destiny 2. Fallout gave his thank you to everyone recently. And now Clyde is saying, my future beyond Destiny 2. Let's see what he's cooking up. Let's see what's next for the Destiny gang out here.
Well, gamers, it's that time to talk about it. What is Clyde's plans and the future plans of his streaming career since Destiny 2's kind of, going down? Well, we're going to go play Marathon. And if you think I was serious about that, you might as well stop watching. We're not going to play that game. We are not. I plan on still playing Destiny 2. I got my birthday coming up, August 16th. We're going to do a nice little subathon stream. Have a good time. And we're also going to be doing like a Sherpa weekend to where we help people this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is July 31st, August 1st, August 2nd. We're just going to be helping people out, trying to beat the last activity that they might not have beaten in the game yet, like an Ultimate Conquest, a raid, a Pantheon, whatever. We're streaming this game for 10 years. I've always just enjoyed helping people, get things that was kind of easy for me to get, because I always had people to play with and always had a good team. And then, you spread that knowledge and you go help people get their activities done. But we're getting to a point where people just don't want to play the game as people are kind of burnt out. People feel like they're playing for no reason. And that's okay. You're allowed to have that feeling, because I get it. It's nice when you have people to play with, and it's nice when you don't. I'm going to keep playing Destiny probably until the end of August, and then maybe start pulling back on the content. I am going to be going back to First Descendant on August 21st or August 20th.
Back to the Gunner game? Oh, hell no.
Their season 4 launches, and I really like that game.
was joking.
And I heard
Half joking.
that the content is going to get better because they're doing a new seasonal update. So I'm gonna go give it a shot. I stream that game a lot. I'm gonna go back, see if I like it, and we'll move on from it. But I feel like right around after I do that First Descendant grind, I need to start pulling back on my Destiny content. Maybe not play it as much. We don't have to completely quit it like some other streamers are doing, but we can, maybe play it once a week and then play other games. We do have Wolverine coming up in September. We have GTA 6 in November, so I'm excited for that. There's some Souls-like games that are coming out that I'm excited for. Anything that has like a Dark Souls vibe, I'm all for that. Crimson Desert might be getting a DLC. I don't know if it's going to be anytime soon, but I'll be paying attention to games like that. And kind of just like wing it. I've been asked to do some podcast stuff. People want the podcast back. I know you guys used to just listen to the app sessions. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, honestly, I didn't realize that people like those podcasts so much of me just talking about IRL stuff going on or life or just streaming or, whatever. Just kind of gives people a time to just bond. So that's definitely a possibility. I'd like to do more IRL content. I have some stuff coming up where I'm going to go to a medieval festival. I'd like to do some vlogging there, maybe do some stuff at the zoo. I don't know. It's kind of new to me because I've always been used to just sitting in this chair and creating content. So I'd rather, just kind of try something different, I plan on, trying some vlogging out. We'll see. But I'd rather just sit in my chair and talk to chat. I'm not really like an IRL guy, but, never say never. It's always
GSXR vlogs. Let's go. W.
It's about trying different stuff, but I'm gonna be focusing on what games that I want to play and what I can have fun in. If chat likes the game, and I really don't like it that much, but it's a good vibe in chat, I might play it longer than I should, because if chat likes it, it's good content. It keeps the chat moving, it keeps people engaged, and I've done that with games in the past, but I've also had things in the past where people didn't like it first, like Diablo, and now people like the Diablo content I do. So when Diablo's next season comes out, I'll play that as well. This one, it kind of slowed down with all their dev last minute patches and taking off the one crafted rule, and now everyone's just like spamming keys and getting really OP builds, and it's not really like fun anymore. So Diablo's on the list, and all the other games I've mentioned so far are on the list. But really, I told myself I've probably worked anywhere between 250 to 300 hours every single month, sometimes more, for 10 years. And it's okay for me to start pulling back on the reins a little bit. If I do a 5-hour stream, it's okay. If I do 5 streams in a week instead of 6 or 7. That's okay. But what's not okay is me like pulling back on the videos. I need to start uploading more videos. I need to start doing more clips, because stuff like that is what really helps your channel grow, is posting clips and posting YouTube videos, and your streams are already there. Sponsorships, stuff like that. You know, we're always using code Clyde at checkout for gamer subs. You guys know that. Code Clyde at checkout for Power GPU. But I've also been reaching out to other sponsors and trying to, you know, grow the brand as we can. But I want everybody to know, like, the reason why I'm making this video is I'm not sitting here telling you guys like I'm disappearing. Like, I'm not letting low numbers get in my way, you know. You're talking to a guy that grinded all the way from having no viewers to 2,000 viewers a day, then go back down to 300, then I went back up to 1,000, then I went back to 300, then I went back to 1,000. It's okay, you know. I've been around for 10 years. I can stay relevant. Can we say Clyde fell off? A little bit. Yeah, Clyde fell off because Destiny fell off. And I've been warning people since Witch Queen that this day would happen. And when you start posting those videos of me complaining and telling you guys all the problems with Destiny 2, what did people say on those videos? They said, well, Clyde's just complaining. All this guy does is cry. Wham, wham, wham. Go get a job. Go flip burgers. I was just pointing out all the mistakes that Bungie was making with their content, and I said this day would come, and no one wanted to listen. Guys like Sweat and other creators all got heat because we were calling out the problem. Well, guess what? We were right. Not everything. We weren't right about everything, but we were right about some. And that's why we're here today, because of time gating, reskinned, laziness, but now look at the game June 9th. It's amazing. Everyone loves the update. Everyone loves all these armor sets. Most of the ideas that are sitting in this update as the game sits today, though, is from us. We told them we wanted armor sets in all these dungeons and raids, and we wanted SRL back, and we wanted creativity that's in the game now, because we want options and we want the game to value our time. You want to feel like you're being rewarded for playing Destiny 2. So instead of Bungie time gating everything, because some of this content that we're playing right now was supposed to be in Shattered Cycle. What do you think they were going to do with Shattered Cycle? They were going to give you a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then they were going to hold it for 3 months and give you that idea. They always time gated their good ideas. But with the June 9th update, they couldn't time gate anything anymore. They had to give it to you all at once. So when they give it to you all at once, it feels really good. And you're like, man, the game is in the best shape of its life. That's because they couldn't pull their tactics. And I'm not trying to give Bungie heat for that, but like, bro, the community was sick of it. Now, let's talk about some positives. Go check the Bungie numbers. Go check the Steam charts right now. Go to popularity.report and see how many logins they've had. Destiny 2 might be on its last life cycle, but it still has more players than most looter shooters today. It's still up there. It's beating a lot of games that are still getting updates, and it's always going to be like that because, dude, the Destiny fan base is one of a kind. I don't care what anybody says. I've gone to GCX for 9 years, and I just got back after this one. The vibes were in the room. People were everyone was just enjoying the time. Everybody was talking about how many cool things they've done over the years of playing Destiny. Maybe it got you married. Maybe it met your best friend. Maybe it introduced you to your clanmates. Maybe it sparked a memory of you having a day one raid clear. We're all celebrating right now. I'm telling you right now, this game isn't just going to disappear. People are still going to keep playing. I myself, I want to keep playing it. If I am playing variety games in September and October and November, and all of a sudden we just got that one day where we got nothing to do, maybe I just pop on the game and go do a couple raids out of nowhere. And people are like, oh man, he's playing again. What's he doing? Ah, man, I remember this raid. I used to do that with Destiny 1. When Destiny 2 came out, when we were in the Curse of Osiris days, that was bad. I would just turn on D1 and I would do Wrath of the Machine for a day. People loved it. So I'm not going to tell you guys that I'm just like, hey, I'm done with Destiny for good, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to do that because this game changed my life. I have thousands of hours in this game, 10 years of streaming it. I just can't write it off like that. I never will. But I do realize that I need to move on and do other games. And I've done that.
This sounds like the toxic relationship like we're talking about. And we're in this as well, where the part that's difficult about Destiny dying right now is there isn't really this like great game to just go play that kind of scratches that same itch. There really needed to be a Destiny killer, right? We always made videos and talked about the Destiny killer, sometimes lighthearted, sometimes serious, right? But unfortunately there wasn't. Right? The real Destiny killer is Bungie now, and that's not a video game we can go play, you know? So now we're just left with like, all right, well, Destiny 2 is going on its way out, but what do we play now, you know? And it looks like Dado made his decision. He's going to play Deadlock, but for a lot of us, we're left of this like weird in-between time. And part of the issue is you don't want to be in this in-between time for too long. This kind of gives you anxiety. You're like, oh, maybe I should pull the trigger on this. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should try this. Maybe I should try that. You know, it's a good time to experiment, like what he's doing with vlogs and, you know, trying out different content and stuff. But the part that's really hard about it is that Destiny was very consistent. And if you found some success in Destiny, you could continue to go back to that well time and time again. You could go back to the well of Destiny and pull out pieces of content and streams and do things that, you know, just, you know, kept it going. But now that's gone. So the backbone is gone and everyone's kind of left scrambling to figure out what's next. It's crazy time though. It's crazy seeing what all the content creators are doing. And like we said before, it's like The Witness. When The Witness died, the echoes emerged and they all landed in different locations. This is the content creators. Some people, Dado's going to Deadlock. You know, some people are going to go play Warframe. Others, they're going to go play Gooner games, right? Who knows where people are going to land?
If you guys remember, if you watched my channel before the June 9th update, I was grinding Crimson Desert like crazy, over 200 hours. I was uploading clips. Everyone loved it. Then I went to Diablo. Everyone loved it. It's okay. But I hope this just makes it clear for everybody to understand that we know we're going to stay on this path. We're going to grind the rest of August. We're going to see where it takes us. And then we're gonna take a trip over to TFD and play that with the new season, see how that is. And then we're just gonna do whatever we want. But I will start taking ideas from people and start incorporating that into my content, because that's all I want to do, is grow as a brand and grow as a business and grow with you guys and, you know, try whatever we can. But we won't fail. It doesn't matter. We don't care about numbers. If we play a game and there's not a lot of numbers, oh well. Maybe the next game will do better. You can't sit there and look at numbers of videos and how many people are watching. It'll get to your head. Trust me. I know. It's got to my head plenty of times. But yeah, let's celebrate this weekend. Let's have fun. Let's do all these activities with people that need to do that one last thing in Destiny 2 and celebrate the birthday. And who knows where we'll end up next, Guardians. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys in chat.
All right, there it is. That's Clyde on his next chapter. He's going to continue playing Destiny 2, it seems, until August. And yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Like I said, I think people will play and come back. So it's like Destiny never really dies. Like people will, you know, there'll be like maybe a once annual revival or something. You know, there's will probably be something going on. But eventually, like in 2027, you know, what is Destiny 2 going to look like for, you know, finding a match? What is Destiny 2 going to look like for, you know, videos and content? It's going to be pretty scarce. So that's Clyde's update. We'll see what the rest of them have to say in due time. All right. And with that, let's get into the game. Let's play, actually. Let's do this. D2 will always have this core player base as D1 has. Yeah. It's tough. Yeah, it's tough to see it drop. But it's natural, you know, like we expect it to happen. Yeah, it's cool that it's had such a core audience for so long. All right, here we go. Got Iron Banner week. We're back at it again. And then we got some more news to cover with Sony. They've given an update, if you haven't seen. Sony has said that they are doubling down and there will be no physical media in the future. So it's pretty crazy stuff. They said they made a strategic decision and they're sticking with it. So even with all the backlash, no physical discs is the way. All right, so let's go here. Make sure I catch these subs. My apologies if I missed a sub. This thing refresh already? Good. Captain Carrot with the tier 1. Alright. So here's what we're going to do. Every sub that's gifted for the next few Destiny streams, we're just deleting something from the vault. Straight up. 1-to-1 ratio of vault to subage. So let's see here. Where's my vault at? This is my vault. We'll start deleting it. What did we get? For now, I got this one, and then we got membership on YouTube. Going one by one. They disabled the Christo screen armor set. They did. Sony's logic, we can increase our revenue by 30%, but we'll lose 50% of our buyers. Yes. This is the stratagem from Sony. Yep, if you gift a sub or a membership, or if you prime sub, we're deleting something from the vault. Until my vault is at 0. It's gone. Just for the love of the game. For the memes. Maybe I'll have to do more than one. Because I have more than 1,000 items in the vault. I got 1167 items in this vault. Some of it is just straight up trash, let's be real. Some of it I can just delete for the sake of deleting it. Maybe I'll just delete 10 things. Delete 10 things for each sub. We'll up it each day. Until I clean my vault out. This is how I clean my vault. This is the vault cleansing strategy. Surely it will work. I got rid of all my bright dust. If you didn't see that, look at me. I am bright dust broke now. 809 bright dust. That's sad to see. You hate to see it. Yeah, the EA CEO got an $8 million... Or he got like a big... Yeah, I wanted to look that up as well. Give me a recent breakdown of the news that the EA CEO got a pay increase or something because of the success of Battlefield 6. His total compensation rose to $38.6 million, an increase of about $8.1 million from the previous year. What the hell? What is even going on anymore, dude? Dude, I can't even find a match of Iron Banner. Oh, no. I deleted a bunch of old Master Armor yesterday. I got a bunch of shards, so cores. Nice. So Andrew Wilson is EA's CEO. He received a major pay increase after Battlefield 6's success. According to EA's amended annual SEC filing for fiscal year 2026, his total compensation rose to $38.65 million, an increase of about $8.1 million from the previous year. And then they did layoffs, so that's crazy. The controversy stems from the timing. Battlefield 6 was a huge commercial success, reportedly selling 7 million copies in its first 3 days and becoming one of EA's biggest launches. EA specifically cited the game's successful launch, positive reviews, and stable online services as reasons for strong company performance. Earlier this year, though, EA laid off developers who had worked on Battlefield 6, along with staff across other EA studios as part of a company realignment. That contrast layoffs for developers alongside a large executive pay increase has drawn significant criticism. So his base salary is around 1.3 million, which is already insane. What the hell? median EA employee compensation is about 126,000. Andrew Wilson's compensation is 38.65 million. Jeez. Scumbags at EA, huh? EA doing something scummy is like, you can't be too surprised though, right? What? I clapped you with that finite impactor. What? Teleported. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, good lord. I'm dead. Going to be that poor soul. Oh my god. Got killed by a sunspot? Oh, that Jade Rabbit is so ridiculous, dude. It's one of our guys left the match. Oh man, now we're low manning out here. So disconnected. No way, that guy shotguns me. He's so weak. Damn it. No, you bumped me and I threw my trip mine into the fucking thing, bruh. Why is that a thing that can happen even? That's gonna hurt. Oh, I'm so dead. Of course I hit all body shots. That ignition almost fucking blew that guy up. Damn. I love when I get this charged up. This Vexmith class charged up. Feels so good. Oh my god, I thought I wasted my super there. I was about to be so salty. Thank god. Oh no. I walked into my sunspot. Like, you think Destiny 2 will flatline once GTA 6 comes out? I don't know that there's a direct correlation with that. It definitely won't help, though. We did see a substantial drop in population when Marathon came out from Destiny 2. So, naturally, like, there is some crossover, you know? But not so much that I think it'll matter that much. The hell? Why are you throwing your super, you crackhead? Oh, hell yeah. We got a big... Oh, shit! Dude, he wiped out the whole team. I was so stoked about that bubble. Uh-oh. No way. How does that track on to me, bruh? These supers are so ridiculous. I'm flying with my head touching on the ceiling? Come on. Ain't no way that should have connected to me. Oh, good God. He has so many truth rockets. What? This ever get fixed? I don't think this ever did get fixed. It never did, dude. This will be the forever glitch here. Forever cheesing this spot now. Yes. Thankfully, Bungie never found that one. GG's, GG's. That was a fun one. That was a fun one. All right, let's see what we got here in terms of news stories. I think that EA CEO getting paid millions while they're laying people off is pretty fucking crazy. People are not happy about this. Seems to be a common thing though, right? Seems to be a recurring trend happening here. $38 million, huh? All right, let's see what we're cooking up with this. Oh, let's go here. This should be pretty interesting. Let's go here. After laying off the Battlefield 6 devs, the EA boss, Andrew Wilson, his bonus went up from 8 million to 38 million last year. So everyone gets laid off and he gets a $30 million pay increase. And this is thanks to the game's success across, quote, all milestones. This is the big news story here. EA doing scummy things. What's new? Someone said he looks like Max Headroom's human brother. Okay. All right. Let's see what we're cooking up here on the topic. The topic is EA CEO makes 38 million from Battlefield 6 success.
The games industry is truly and utterly broken. If this is a result that can happen after developers put, blood, sweat, and tears into a project where even after its success, they suffer consequences, while the CEO, who just stood there and watched people work and really didn't do all that much, gets to get millions in additional compensation. And this is a story that's been making the rounds. Right here, we have a report from various news outlets. I'm going to cover game developers coverage here, stating EA boss awarded $38.6 million after year of franchise success, studio layoffs, and Gen AI adoption. Ugh, one of the worst sequence of words strung together that I've ever seen.
The Gen AI added to the end is really the cherry on the shit cake for this one.
This is just straight up highway robbery, and the level of injustice here cannot be overstated. So let's look at exactly what's going on here. So for fiscal 2026, again, Andrew Wilson got awarded $38.6 million. That's a significant increase from fiscal year 2025 when he was awarded $30.5 million. He got awarded an additional $8.1 million because of successes that others accomplished. He is making money off of the backs of the developers who actually made this success happen. And then the year prior to that, in 2024, Andrew Wilson made a still significant $25.6 million. So every year we have been seeing his salary and his rewards go up while developers suffer, even when the products that they deliver are massively successful.
The EA CEO is making Pete Parsons look good right now.
Reads right here that while Andrew Wilson's base salary is currently $1.3 million, he was handed over $28 million in stock awards and another $6.5 million in bonus compensation. The man who was least responsible for the success of titles like Battlefield 6 is the one who was rewarded the most. Make it make sense. And yes, a big part of this compensation has to do with Battlefield and how the IP has achieved meeting all milestones for a high quality launch of Battlefield 6 with positive critical reviews and stable services and gameplay, with intra milestones related to future launches being met, none of which was a result of Andrew Wilson's contributions. At the very least, certainly not worth $38.6 million in salary, bonus, and stock. Even for all of the massive success that they're touting for the Battlefield franchise, guess what happened not too long ago? The Battlefield division saw layoffs. The layoffs were reported back in March of 2026, and we are looking at a game that broke records. The best Battlefield has ever done. It even surpassed Call of Duty for the first time in franchise history. By all measures, Battlefield 6 is a mega hit. I mean, it was literally the best-selling game of 2025.
Did better than Call of Duty.
Every developer, every individual who contributed to that success should have been rewarded. instead, we saw mass layoffs happen across various divisions.
And then you saw with Crimson Desert, when they absolutely crushed it, they paid each and every dev like a $5,000 bonus. So you do see it go the other way, where companies that really appreciate their, employees, like, reward them when the game does successful. But in this situation, Battlefield 6 does really well, and the only person that makes a ton of money is the CEO, making millions and millions of dollars, while the devs that did literally all of the hard work or just get nothing. So, pat on the back. Good job, bud. Good job, Bucko. Keep at it.
Involving that game. Meanwhile, Andrew Wilson sitting here basically taking credit for that success and taking all of the rewards for that success, while the developers who actually made the success happen get the boot. Adding insult to injury is the fact that part of the reason why Andrew Wilson got a bump in salary, bonus, stock, and rewards is because he decided to integrate generative AI, which is a technology that is woefully controversial due to the fact that it was built off of the backs of artists and individuals who did not give their permission for their work to be used to train a technology that ultimately spits out an amalgam of other people's work. It is just a technology that was created for mass plagiarism. On top of the negative impacts that it's had to the environment, the way that technology has been woefully abused because of the lack of restraints surrounding it, and also the negative economic impacts, with Gen AI being a major reason for why consoles and gaming hardware is less affordable, why computing components like RAM, SSDs, GPUs, you name it, are so much more expensive now, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the original price that they used to be. It's why we're seeing prices for hardware go up instead of depreciating as they once did. It is an incredibly destructive technology that EA is being applauded for, and that Andrew Wilson is being rewarded for due to its implementation, due to his push to make this technology more front and center. Oh, and on top of that, the company apparently determined that Andrew Wilson should use private jets for all personal and business trips, and that is being categorized as just basically additional compensation. And just from private jets alone, apparently Wilson basically received an additional $2.3 million from EA to cover that outlay. The gaming community can't...
Not the private jets, dude. They brought the PJs into this? Why? This is crazy. What a big expose, huh?
Believe what they're seeing. When you look at comments and responses to, news outlets covering this, we see top comments like a race for bringing absolutely nothing to the table. It's astounding how the people who actually create are thrown to the wolves, but blood-sucking parasites sitting on top of the pyramid are rewarded for terminating creativity. This timeline is back asswards. You want to know what is actually destroying video games? You want to know why game quality can be questionable? Is because of the lack of preservation for institutional knowledge. When you lay off people, when you lay off developers, when you lay off workers, especially veterans, you're not just losing like an individual. They're not just a number on a sheet. That is loss of all of the institutional knowledge that they've brought to this team. And that's one thing that Nintendo understands. That's why when things are rough for them, it's not the developers and workers who suffer. Nintendo does their absolute utmost to retain all the workers, and the ones who take a pay cut are the executives, because they know that in the long term, keeping all of these workers around, all of that institutional knowledge that's been built up, and maintaining the team that have cohesively worked together and know how to work with each other and have all that built up knowledge and experience to make amazing games, that is ultimately what is going to allow for the creation of the best products possible down the line, and that's what will lead to long-term success. Whereas when you create an environment where even after a massive success like Battlefield 6, you still have to fear for your job, what is the incentive for people to do their best work when it's the CEO who doesn't do really a whole lot in the creation of a video game, the one reaping the rewards from the work that was done by the workers who should be the ones getting a raise in salaries and bonuses and basically every incentive to keep those people around, to keep that cohesive team happy, and to maintain that institutional knowledge, the built-up experience that will allow them to do an even better job moving forward, because they don't have to fear for for their livelihoods, and they're actually happy to do the work instead of just doing it knowing the impending potential that they may get laid off and that they're going to watch a CEO, some C-suite in a suit, get all of the rewards that they should have gotten. We're talking about a level of compensation that no doubt could have been used to retain all of the workers who helped create the games that led to the corporate success. But hey, welcome to capitalism. This is kind of what is encouraged and what is rewarded. And with investors in particular, they only care about seeing those numbers go up. They don't care about the retention of that institutional knowledge. They don't understand the process. As long as the results are there, then they're happy. And EA's goal isn't to make developers happy, even though that is the recipe for long-term success. It's to make investors happy. And when they lay off people, it just increases their revenue potential to get to cut costs. And in the financial results and sheets, that looks really great for investors. Anytime mass layoffs happen, you know what we see? Corporations' stock prices go up. Investors go in because that's a good thing for them, except they don't understand that in the long term, that is just such a massive loss, just such a degradation of so much that's been built up that has paved the road to the products that people love, that make customers gravitate towards a company's products, that give the EA logo, and the logo of the various developers meaning, when it's exciting to look at a logo because you can expect quality from them. The reason you can expect quality is because the people, the specific talent who worked on that project, you can rely on that team specifically. But when that team gets torn down, you get a situation like BioWare where, the BioWare name still exists, but looking at that name, it no longer incites that excitement that it once used to.
That's an example like Bungie, obviously. Easy one to throw in there. Probably even more infamous than BioWare at this stage.
Because the people who made BioWare real special at the tippy top height and climax of their golden years, the people not being there means that, it's not the same BioWare. They're just BioWare name, but, we've seen their quality suffer throughout the years, and that's because of the people who were not there, on top of all the various mismanagements that happened with some of those projects. But, that institutional knowledge is so key to what makes a studio and its talent and their output exciting, because it's ultimately people who make video games. Without the people, without that talent, without all that knowledge and experience that has been built up to continue that momentum forward, that quality cannot be maintained. And that is something that so many corporations do not understand. And certainly EA, with this maneuver right here to give the CEO an $8 million raise for the successes of others, while also giving the people who made that success happen the boot, and to screw them over completely with layoffs and just giving them that sense of fear that no amount of success is ultimately enough to make these executives happy, and to not have these executives execute mass layoffs that are completely unjustified when these people gave you like the most successful product in the Battlefield IP's history. It is so absurd that this can happen at all, and this is only going to drive talent away from the games industry. People come into game development because they're passionate about the medium, but that passion is being killed by greed. When you know that despite how passionate you are about a certain medium, that you're going to be mistreated, that you're going to live in fear, that, enough is never enough, that you can't ever deliver too good of a product for you to be safe from losing your job, then, talent is not going to gravitate towards this industry. It's going to drive talent away. And as more of these layoffs continue to
drive people to be indies more than anything I can imagine
happen, which has been just a plague in the last couple of years, more and more institutional knowledge will get lost. And games are going to take longer to make as a result. Games are going to degrade in quality as a result. And we're just fighting like an unnecessary uphill battle. And that uphill battle is ultimately greed. Greed is the thing that is paving that uphill road that should not be uphill at all when you keep the developers, the human beings who make the art, happy, and when they're happy to do it, and then when they feel safe to do it, and when they can retain that core team that made that special product possible for the long term. I know this is nothing new. It's not like this is the first time something like this has happened, but it's still painful to see every time. And every time it happens, it degrades the confidence in the entire games industry. And it's just going to keep driving away talent because there's only so much passion can carry someone. There's only so much passion can be used as a way to tolerate what is ultimately just a broken industry with a broken system, with a broken structure that ultimately rewards greed and screws over artists and screws over people who make successes happen. So if that's the case, what's the point of making successes happen when, you get completely screwed for doing a good job? It just is, again, so back asswards, as the one individual said. But that's one man's take, and this is something worth noting, and yet another reason to hate Andrew Wilson and EA's executive committee. There's so many talented devs at that company who deserve better. Fuck Andrew Wilson, and there's a reason why EA continues to be among the most, reviled game publishers because of shit like this. And EA is not unique on that front, but they're certainly a participant of it. But let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on all of this in the comments below. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah.
All right, there it is. That's a breakdown of the EA CEO making $38 million after everyone got laid off. Pretty crazy situation. Pretty crazy stuff. What a time to be alive, man. I feel like there's endless games industry disasters being talked about. Every day is a new disaster, a new fucking expose. That's a big one, though. That's not your average fucking catastrophe there. The Destiny 2 team posted? The Destiny 2 team posted, we have 2 more Crucible-centric changes going live today to address map and sandbox balance issues. The map disjunction is being removed from Iron Banner due to issues with Fortress Zone placement. The Europa 4-piece armor set bonus is being disabled in Crucible environments, as it can give players frost armor at all times. This set bonus will continue to be available in PvE. And it reads, from the storm after being out of combat for a moderate duration. This is the part that doesn't work. It seems to be at any time, even when in combat. Slowly gain frost armor until you re-enter combat. Thank you to all players who have been reporting issues and feedback since Monument of Triumph launched. Bungie's back, dude. Another Crucible update, dude. More Crucible bugs. Who would have thunk? Who would have imagined? Crazy. Crazy times. All right. All right, well, I think I'm going to call it a wrap for tonight, chat. I'm going to head out and edit some of those videos, and I'll be back tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow's usually my day off, and we'll probably start playing some other games here pretty soon, play some Power World and stuff, but I got to head out a little bit early tonight. So it's going to be a wrap from me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for vibing. Thank you for hanging out. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone. See you later. More news to cover.